care. Efforts must hinge on creating safe corridors for those in transit and fair asylum processes for those who reach host countries.
Human rights reporting and underestimation of displacement figures by credible humanitarian organizations. Accurate reporting on the crisis in southern Cameroon is gravely impacted by intimidation tactics employed by the oppressive regime of Biya, leading to significant underestimation of displacement figures. While the UNHCR reports approximately 87,000 Cameroonian refugees in Nigeria as of March 2024, Ambazonian authorities, who receive daily figures from their people on the ground, assert that the actual number exceeds 400,000. This disparity underscores the severity and human cost of the situation. The challenges do not end with reporting inaccuracies. The Nigerian government authorities have reportedly interfered with the UNHCR processes of identifying and registering refugees, which may explain why many refugees have reported being denied registration by UNHCR representatives on the ground in Nigeria. Tragically, even those who managed to get registered have not received any support from the UNHCR for over a year now. The little aid that was initially provided was abruptly stopped without any explanation, leaving the refugees in limbo and grappling with uncertainty and despair.
Standing at the precipice of this humanitarian disaster, the world has a choice: to ignore the needs of Southern Cameroonians, Ambazonians, refugees, or to rally behind their quest for dignity and justice. This is our moment to rise above the noise of political rhetoric and take decisive action. Let us not allow our generation to be remembered for its willful ignorance, but for its steadfast commitment to human dignity.
Meanwhile, the French Cameroonian authorities have also reportedly interfered with and restricted the operations of human rights organizations such as Amnesty International, Doctors Without Borders, and even the UNHCR within Cameroon. These organizations, which champion the cause of human dignity worldwide, face obstacles that hinder their ability to provide essential aid and bear witness to the atrocities unfolding in the sub-Saharan African region.
Voices of displacement, the struggle of Ambazonian refugees in Nigeria. Life as an Ambazonian refugee in Nigeria is fraught with unimaginable hardship, with limited access to healthcare, rampant food insecurity, and scant economic opportunities. Many find themselves in a relentless struggle for survival. Despite recent efforts from humanitarian organizations and the Ambazonian government, the aid provided falls heartbreakingly short. In my 3 years of reporting on the ground, I have witnessed heart-wrenching realities: infants succumbing to hunger, young girls turning to prostitution out of desperation, and refugees driven to suicide by the sheer hopelessness of their circumstances. It is devastating to see that many would rather face the perilous journey through places like the Darien Gap than return home.
These desperate people are not so much concerned about the identity crisis because they are actually faced with an existential threat and have completely lost trust in all governments and institutions or organizations that are expected to provide urgent humanitarian assistance, as we observe in other areas where there are crises in the world, for example, in Ukraine and in the Middle East. The question then becomes, are they less of a citizen of this world? Or is this a race issue? Or is this deliberate neglect? We're therefore calling on the United Nations, and especially the UNHCR, and all other humanitarian organizations, the displaced persons, and the refugees from the southern Cameroons deserve assistance like any other people who are victims of war. We therefore call on these organizations to be fair, to be just, and to treat the refugees of the Southern Cameroons with respect and dignity, because they are also children of this universe.
Over 80% of Ambazonian refugees lack adequate shelter, leaving them vulnerable to harsh weather and security threats. Alarmingly, the same number of school-aged children have no access to formal education, dimming their future prospects and continuing the vicious cycle of poverty. The gender-based violence is another grim reality, with limited protection mechanisms in place to shield these refugees from sexual assaults and domestic abuse.
In the throes of such adversity, the humanitarian spirit urges us not to overlook the plight of these displaced individuals. Accurate and transparent reporting, coupled with prioritized humanitarian assistance, is not just a logistical necessity, but a profound act of compassion. Every underreported statistic, every unassisted refugee represents a life in turmoil, a child robbed of their childhood, a family torn apart, a community devastated. The international community must respond with urgency and empathy. It is time for solidarity to transcend borders and for human compassion to drive actionable change. We must amplify the voices of the displaced, challenge the barriers to truth, and ensure that no soul is left behind in the shadows of this humanitarian crisis. Only then can we honor the intrinsic value of human life and uphold the principles of justice and equality that lie at the heart of human rights advocacy.
The Norwegian Refugee Council has shed light on one of the world's most underreported humanitarian crises, the plight of the Southern Cameroons, or what they call the Anglophone crisis. The anguish faced by the Ambazonian people is a heart-wrenching, and the silence surrounding their struggle is deafening. It is suggested that powerful interests, especially France's stake in the Southern Cameroon's resources, could be fueling this tragic silence.
This genocidal war declared on us by the 90-year-old dictator Paul Biya on the 30th of November 2017 is raging, and our people are going through this horror in pain and in plain sight while the world watches on. This is our reality daily.
We must listen to the stories of these refugees. We must face the truths that these statistics reveal and push harder for meaningful change. We owe it to them to ensure that their voices aren't just heard but acted upon.
All right, thank you so much, Sir Smart there, and all the other persons that played a very pivotal role in ensuring that the plight and the voices of the refugees are heard. I mean, you can see the efforts of all government ESCO there, ensuring that the world gets to understand the pains, the plight of the Ambazonian refugees. Oh, well, due to time, we'll head over to the State House to, prepare a solid ground for the president's speech. But then let's get what Mr. Tarh has to say.
Thank you very much, Undaunted. Thank you, Ambazonians, for all those who have tuned in. We are actually streaming on various multimedia platforms, on YouTube, on Facebook. We will be sending excerpts even on TikTok, every excerpt of whatever we are streaming now. We're making sure that those who are subscribed with us can also watch via our website. We are streaming in sub-Saharan Africa as I speak to you. In every country in Central and West Africa, we are streaming this program. The speech or the moment you have been waiting for is just a few minutes away. I think it's time for us to move into the State House.
the drama. Yes, girl, bring on the drama!
Fellow citizens of the Southern Cameroon's Ambazonia. Dear people of the Southern Cameroon's Ambazonia, as you reflect on the 7th anniversary of our declaration of the restoration of our independence, I want to start by acknowledging your courage and resilience. It is heartening to see that despite the many trials and tribulations we have faced, our resolve remains unbroken and our resolve for self-determination unshaken, knowing that our suffering today cannot be compared to the glory of freedom ahead. The regime's response to our peaceful quest for justice and equality has been a series of unprovoked massacres of our innocent people, youth especially. They have shown contempt for our aspirations. They dismissed our legitimate grievances and resorted to labeling our struggle as terrorism. This narrative is a far cry from the harsh realities on the ground, where we are the ones subjected to violence and assaults, enforced disappearances, rapes, incarcerations, and murders. Their strategy of trying to label our struggle as secession or terrorism was a desperate attempt to obscure their crimes against humanity committed in our homeland. This regime has spent millions on media buying and lobbying efforts to whitewash their terrible image and cover up their crimes committed on our innocent people. Their refusal to engage in genuine dialogue is a testament of their disregard for our democratic culture and their commitment to brute force only. Their attempts to subdue us through violence and deception have only strengthened our resolve. They have sought to sow discord amongst us, discredit our leadership, and create confusion to justify their refusal to negotiate. However, history shows that we have always presented ourselves as a unified delegation committed to a fair and equitable arrangement. La République du Cameroon did not conquer us in a war. The truth remains, we did not force ourselves upon them either. They promised to respect our sovereignty
our sovereign choice to stay or opt out. Ahidjo famously said this in 1961 at the United Nations, and I quote, "The two territories will be united, but they will maintain their respective institutions. The Southern Cameroons will keep its own administration, its own parliament, and its own laws," end of quote. He literally made a vow before world leaders when he added, "We have promised and we solemnly reaffirm that the institutions of the Southern Cameroons will be respected. We will not annex the Southern Cameroons," end of quote. But instead of keeping their word, Mr. Biya recently told us they sought to annex us, erase our identity, and transform the union of equals to a conquest. Today, we want to remember the sacrifices made by our fallen heroes and heroines who have given their lives to stop this great evil, to stop the fraud and reclaim our freedom. We honor their memory by continuing our struggle for the restoration of our dignity, humanity, and sovereignty through justice and equality. Fellow countrymen and women, I urge you to remain steadfast in your resolve. We are not cowards. Let us continue to resist the regime's attempt to wipe us out of the face of the map. We must stand up to every attempt by the regime or its proxy forces to increase the pain on us. Let us continue to hold these colonial hoodlums accountable for their crimes against humanity. If fraud, genocide, annexation are crimes against humanity, then La République du Cameroun state is a criminal state. As we move forward, let us fight with a renewed sense of purpose and determination. We want to build a nation that is founded on the principles of fairness, justice, equality, and freedom. Dear people of the Southern Cameroons, let us lay wreaths on the graves of our fallen heroes, our innocent citizens butchered by French Cameroon. Let us now honor those who continue to stand firm in the face of this great adversity. Let's remember the wishes of our founding fathers, who can only smile today owing to our bravery to correct this wrong. We must continue to assert our right to life, our right to live free, like every other former UN trust territory in Africa today. We deserve our own society where our people can live in peace and dignity, as was envisaged by our founding fathers. Dear comrades of the resistance, we have received reports that a certain Southern Cameroonian has been arrested in Norway by the government of Norway for suspicion of committing crimes against humanity. We hope that that arrest was not politically motivated and that the suspect shall be judged under Norwegian law, not Cameroon law. Inasmuch as we do not condone the gross acts of atrocity crimes allegedly committed by the ADF, we expect the justice system of a universal jurisdiction like Norway to respect the rule of law, respect the rights of all her citizens to a fair and speedy trial, and consider every suspect innocent until proven guilty. So let the law take its course. We know that the innocent is vindicated, and the criminal only goes down or goes under where the law is correctly interpreted without fear or favor. Norway is not a banana republic. Therefore, let me use this opportunity to also remind the Justice Minister of Norway that we, the government of the people of the Southern Cameroons, we have a pending criminal complaint filed in 2019 in your courts against 98 genocide and war crime suspects in Cameroon who also travel to and fro from Norway. You will do greater justice to humanity by picking up our complaint for investigation also. Ladies and gentlemen, we have won the war declared on us. To understand our victory, one must understand the battle we set ourselves to win from the beginning. Our victory does not comprise of killing all enemy forces. As a people targeted by a ruthless occupier for annihilation, our number one goal was survival. And yes, we have survived the 7 years, still resisting. We are no more the dogs and the rats or the frogs they decided to eliminate in 2 weeks. After 7 bloody years of a brutal war, the enemy has not succeeded to crush a ragtag gorilla. On the contrary, we have uprooted 80% of their administrative presence in our God-given territory. The so-called one and indivisible sing-song has gradually become a retired mantra. Today, one set of rules apply in Amazonia, another set of rules apply in French Cameroon. We are taking hold of our destiny. We have shocked the world, especially France, and those aiding and abetting this extermination project. We have succeeded to crumble the war economy of the Republic of Cameroon. We are bleeding the life out of the French Cameroon. Either Cameroon keeps holding onto its sinking Titanic, or this whole geographical space will be plunged into an abyss of insecurity and economic misery. Yesterday, Britain argued that southern Cameroons cannot survive economically without joining French Cameroon. Today, the table has turned. What I hear now is Cameroon cannot survive without the southern Cameroons, Amazonia. The strategy of looking away was adopted by the French and sold to the international community to help France or French Cameroon crush us. But gradually, it is becoming clearer today that that strategy, if sustained, will sink La République du Cameroun altogether without possibility of redemption. Do not give up. My people, we are the generation Fonye prayed for at his death. Yes. Fellow Amazonians, die-hard warriors, do not be discouraged by some corrupt few hired to discourage you. Do not be discouraged by some who have given up or broken their focus. Do not listen to some who may sound sincere to you but are themselves deceived just because they cannot separate truth from lies. At this stage of our struggle, choose your friends carefully. Don't allow them to choose you. A companion of fools shall be destroyed. Many are very loud, very negative, always castigating and blackmailing those who are actually fighting for you. They talk with great passion, but they don't mean well, and they are liars and manipulators. Even if you were an angel, if they disagree with you, they will frame you up as a monster, as an agent of La République du Cameroun. They want your enemies to be your enemies, their enemies to be your enemies also. Else, you become their enemy too. Be careful not to get entangled in cliques to fight not for what is good for Amazonia, but for what is convenient for the clique. There is a war we all decided to fight and win. It is not the war against fellow patriots. We should not be defined by our mistakes. We should be defined by what we stood for, because all men make mistakes. The meal of our diplomacy is grinding slowly but surely. We appreciate our institutional partners and friends who have added their voices to our cause this year. From the continent of Africa to Europe, from the continental USA to South America, we have done a lot to represent our cause to willing ears in high places, draw the sympathies of many who only yesterday cared less if we even existed. We are no longer watched through the windows or the keyholes. We are in the corridors of decision. It is only a matter of time for the consciences that matter to start addressing the double standard, to boldly see that what is good for Ukraine is good for Ambazonia, and what is wrong for Ukraine is wrong for Ambazonia. My dear country people, now we are closer to the end of this journey than when we started. This war has been won spiritually and mentally. Even our adversary knows that. The finals shall be played sooner than later. It will surely happen, either by the surrender of the occupier, a coup d'etat in La République du Cameroon, a civil war situation between political factions within La République du Cameroon, or by a certain foreign intervention orchestrated by the geopolitical shifts in the region, or still a comprehensive negotiated settlement between the southern Cameroons and La République du Cameroon. There are 3 or 4 catalysts at work: the death or disappearance of Mr. Paul Biya, our resolve to keep the flames burning, the political and financial or military upheavals in Yaoundé, and the behavior of the international players. Amongst the 4, the number 1 should be our resolve to keep fighting. My dear Ambazonia State Armed Forces, every family has a chosen one, and every village has a chosen few. Also, every nation has chosen ones in different domains, and even continents have chosen nations. Even the world has its chosen nations. Some of you listening to me, dead or alive, are amongst the chosen we have in Ambazonia. The chosen ones are those anointed for the salvation of all. They are not perfect. The life of the chosen is a sacrifice for the good of all. Ambazonia, a nation that kills its chosen ones, will meander in the wilderness for 40 years or more, like the Israelites did when they rejected Moses. I will not endorse anyone who kills any one of you, his colleague, a chosen one, for power, envy, or money. Do not be distracted by hollow calls for unity by some who do not mean what they preach and do not preach what they mean. The word unity or collaboration means several things to different people. Our revolution is not the first of its kind. There is no record in history to buttress the fact that all the forces in a liberation movement must become one before victory happens. You cannot unite 2 people with opposite views except through compromise. Such compromise that will mean one must drop his or her position. How do you unite or collaborate with those who have stopped fighting and those who are still fighting? How can you unite them? How do you unite or cause to collaborate those who are eating bribes with those who are not? How do you unite and collaborate those who are killing children with those who are empowering children? How do you unite or make to collaborate those who are going to the north and those who are going to the south? How do you unite or collaborate with those who are organized criminals and those who are actual liberation forces? If reconciliation was that possible or good, why did they refuse to stay with us in the house in the first place? Why did they leave the house and try to pull down the walls? Some said they left because they could no longer tolerate our mess. What has changed now? We are still full of the mess they will not tolerate yesterday. So what do they really want now under this cloak of unity? It smells like a calculated move to take another shot, a deadly one, from inside. Why should we believe the authors of disunity when they come again without apologies as the apostles of unity and collaboration? It is true that those who hurt others forget their actions before those who are hurt. In diplomacy, as we continue to navigate the complexities of our struggle for independence, we acknowledge the slow but steady progress of our diplomatic efforts. We appreciate the support and recognition we have made inroads in the UK, USA, Brazil, in terms of institutional partnership and recognitions. We made significant strides in representing our cause to willing ears in critical spheres. They no longer see us through the windows. We have entered the corridors of decision-making. Our message of self-determination and freedom has resonated with many, and we are confident that the tides of public opinion are shifting in our favor. As the situation in Ukraine has shown, what is good for one nation is also good for another, and what is wrong in one nation or one place should be wrong for all. We are not alone in our struggle, and we will continue to draw parallels between our cause and the struggles of other nations. My dear resilient prisoners, refugees, and IDPs, I salute you all for the courage many of you are exhibiting in extreme hardship. Your resilience brings us hope and confidence. We will continue to advocate for you in a conflict-prone, racially divided world for helpers to come our way. We will continue to shed the light on the injustices and extreme human rights abuses you suffer daily in the hands of the rogue government of French Cameroon. We will continue to solicit the material and spiritual help you need to enable you hold it together until freedom comes. Though all of us in the diaspora are considered as refugees and prisoners in varying degrees, we know that some are in more dire conditions and situations and require our support. In this regard, I call on all our patriotic comrades to support the goodwill initiatives of the Department of Health and Social Services and our Department of Women's Services that are doing their best to extend a helping hand to our hundreds of thousands of affected ones. We call on the humanitarian community at large to consider the plight of our suffering people. We know that one crisis in the world eclipses another, but our people deserve at least your advocacy. My people, let us all continue with this journey of hope, knowing the truth is on our side and even God will not forsake the just. It is no longer a matter of if, but when. And the tree of freedom we have watered with our blood shall blossom. Go ahead to celebrate this day around the table with your children and tell them the reason for this day. Tell them why we fight and why they are not Cameroonians. Recount to them the names of our true national heroes and pray for them that if we don't enter the promised land today, they must be ready to rise to the occasion and complete our journey. I wish you a happy Independence Day 2024. Viva our Ambazonia State Armed Forces. Viva the Southern Cameroon's Ambazonia. Thank you.
Citoyens du Southern Cameroun's Ambazonie, chers habitants de Southern Cameroun's Ambazonie, alors que vous réfléchissez au 7e anniversaire de notre déclaration d'indépendance, je tiens à commencer par reconnaître votre courage et votre résilience. Il est réconfortant de voir que malgré de nombreuses épreuves et tribulations auxquelles nous avons été confrontés, notre détermination reste intacte et notre volonté d'autodétermination demeure inébranlable, sachant que notre souffrance aujourd'hui ne peut être comparée à la gloire de la liberté qui nous attend. La réponse du régime à notre quête pacifique de justice et d'égalité a été une série de massacres gratuits de notre peuple innocent, en particulier des jeunes. Ils ont montré du mépris pour nos aspirations, rejeté nos revendications légitimes et ont eu recours à qualifier notre lutte de terrorisme. Ce récit est à 1000 lieues des dures réalités sur le terrain où nous sommes ceux qui subissent la violence, les incendies criminels, les disparitions forcées, les viols, l'incarcération et les meurtres. Leur stratégie de tenter de qualifier notre lutte de sécession ou de terrorisme était une tentative désespérée de masquer leurs crimes contre l'humanité commis dans notre patrie. Le régime a dépensé des millions en achats de médias et en efforts de lobbying pour blanchir leur terrible image et dissimuler leurs crimes commis sur les Ambazoniens innocents. Leur refus de s'engager dans un véritable dialogue témoigne de leur mépris pour notre culture démocratique et de leur engagement envers la force brutale. Leur tentative de nous soumettre par la violence et la tromperie n'ont fait que renforcer notre détermination. Ils ont cherché à semer la discorde parmi nous, à discréditer notre leadership et à créer la confusion pour justifier leur refus de négocier. Cependant, l'histoire montre que nous nous sommes toujours présentés comme une délégation unie, engagée en faveur d'un arrangement juste et équitable. La République du Cameroun ne nous a pas conquis par la guerre. La vérité est que nous ne nous sommes pas non plus imposés à eux. Ils ont promis de respecter notre choix souverain de rester ou de nous retirer. Ahidjo a déclaré cela en 1961 à l'ONU et je cite, « Il a littéralement, les deux territoires seront unis, mais ils conserveront leurs institutions respectives. Les Camerounais du Sud garderont leur propre administration, leur propre parlement et leurs propres lois. » Fin de citation. Il a littéralement fait un vœu devant les dirigeants du monde en ajoutant, je cite, « Nous avons promis et nous réaffirmons solennellement que les institutions des Camerounais du Sud seront respectées. Nous n'annexerons pas les Camerounais du Sud. » Fin de citation. Mais au lieu de tenir leurs promesses, M. Biya nous a récemment dit qu'il cherchait à nous annexer, à effacer notre identité et à transformer l'union d'égaux en conquête. Aujourd'hui, nous voulons nous rappeler des sacrifices de nos héros et héroïnes tombés qui ont donné de leur vie pour stopper ce grand mal, mettre fin à la fraude et retrouver notre liberté. Nous honorons leur mémoire en poursuivant notre lutte pour la restauration de notre dignité, de notre humanité et de notre souveraineté à travers la justice et l'égalité. Chers compatriotes, je vous exhorte à rester fermes dans votre détermination. Nous ne sommes pas des lâches. Continuons de résister aux tentatives du régime de nous effacer de la carte. Nous devons nous opposer à chaque tentative du régime ou de ses forces proxy d'accroître notre souffrance. Continuons à tenir ces voyous coloniaux responsables de leurs crimes contre l'humanité. Si la fraude, le génocide ou l'annexion sont des crimes contre l'humanité, alors l'État de la République du Cameroun est un État criminel. Alors que nous avançons, luttons avec un sens renouvelé de l'objectif et de la détermination. Nous voulons construire une nation fondée sur les principes d'équité, de justice, d'égalité et de liberté. Chers peuples du Southern Cameroon, mettons des offrandes sur les tombes de nos héros tombés, nos citoyens innocents massacrés par le Cameroun français. Honorons ceux qui continuent à tenir ferme face à cette grande adversité. Souvenons-nous des souhaits de nos pères fondateurs qui ne peuvent sourire aujourd'hui grâce à notre bravoure pour corriger cette injustice. Nous devons continuer à affirmer notre droit de vivre librement, comme tout autre ancien territoire sous tutelle de l'ONU en Afrique aujourd'hui. Nous méritons notre propre société où notre peuple peut vivre en paix et avec dignité, comme l'avaient envisagé nos pères fondateurs. Chers camarades de la résistance, nous avons reçu des rapports selon lesquels un certain Southern Cameroonian Un certain Camerounais du Sud a été arrêté en Norvège par le gouvernement norvégien pour suspicion de crimes contre l'humanité. Nous espérons que cette arrestation n'était pas motivée politiquement et que les suspects seront jugés selon la loi norvégienne et non la loi camerounaise. Dans la mesure où nous ne cautionnons pas les actes atroces prétendument commis par l'EDF, nous attendons que le système judiciaire d'une juridiction universelle comme la Norvège respecte les droits de tous ses citoyens à un procès équitable et rapide et considère chaque suspect comme innocent jusqu'à preuve du contraire. Que la loi suive son cours. Nous savons que les innocents sont réhabilités et que le criminel ne sentit que lorsque la loi est correctement interprétée, sans crainte ni faveur. La Norvège n'est pas une république bananière. Alors, permettez-moi de saisir cette occasion pour rappeler également au ministre de la Justice norvégien que nous, le gouvernement et le peuple du Southern Cameroon, avons une plainte criminelle en attente déposée en 2019 dans vos tribunaux contre 98 suspects de génocide et de crimes de guerre au Cameroun qui voyagent également vers et depuis la Norvège. Vous rendrez un plus grand service à l'humanité en prenant également en considération notre plainte pour enquête. Mesdames et messieurs, nous avons gagné la guerre qui nous a été déclarée. Pour comprendre notre victoire, il faut comprendre la bataille que nous avons commencé à mener dès le début. Notre victoire ne consiste pas à anéantir toutes les forces ennemies. En tant que peuple ciblé par un occupant impitoyable pour annihilation, notre objectif numéro 1 était la survie. Et oui, nous avons survécu après 7 ans tout en résistant. Nous ne sommes plus les chiens ou les rats qu'ils ont décidé d'éliminer en 2 semaines. Après 7 années sanglantes d'une guerre brutale, l'ennemi n'a pas réussi à écraser une guérilla hétéroclite. Au contraire, nous avons déraciné 80% de leur présence administrative sur notre territoire que Dieu nous a donné. Le chant de la soi-disant un et indivisible est progressivement devenu un mantra obsolète. Aujourd'hui, un ensemble de règles s'applique en Amazonie et un autre en Cameroun français. Nous prenons en main notre destin. Nous avons choqué le monde, en particulier la France, et ceux qui aident et encouragent ce projet d'extermination. Nous avons réussi à faire s'effondrer l'économie de guerre des Cameroun. L'économie de guerre des Camerounais. Nous exprimons le souffle de la vie de la République du Cameroun. Soit le Cameroun continue de s'accrocher à son titanesque en perdition. Je reprends. Soit le Cameroun continue de s'accrocher à son Titanic en perdition, soit tout cet espace géographique sera plongé dans un abîme d'insécurité et de misère économique. Hier, la Grande-Bretagne a soutenu que les Camerounais du Sud ne peuvent pas survivre économiquement sans rejoindre le Cameroun français. Aujourd'hui, les rôles s'inversent. Ce que j'entends maintenant, c'est que le Cameroun ne peut pas survivre sans l'Ambazonie. La stratégie de détourner le regard a été adoptée par les Français et vendue à la communauté internationale pour aider le Cameroun français à nous écraser. Mais il devient progressivement plus clair aujourd'hui que cette stratégie, si elle est maintenue, fera sombrer la République du Cameroun sans possibilité de rédemption. Ne baissez pas les bras, ô mon peuple. Nous sommes la génération pour laquelle Foncha a prié à sa mort. Chers Ambazoniens, guerriers déterminés, ne vous découragez pas par quelques corrompus payés pour vous décourager. Ne laissez pas certains qui ont abandonné ou perdu leur concentration vous décourager. Ne prêtez pas attention à ceux qui peuvent vous sembler sincères, mais qui sont eux-mêmes trompés simplement parce qu'ils ne peuvent pas séparer la vérité des mensonges. À ce stade de notre lutte, choisissez vos amis avec soin. Ne les laissez pas choisir pour vous. Un compagnon de fou sera détruit. Beaucoup sont très bruyants, très négatifs, toujours en train de condamner et de faire du chantage à ceux qui se battent réellement pour l'Ambazonie. Ils parlent avec une grande passion, mais ils n'ont pas de bonnes intentions et ce sont des menteurs ou des manipulateurs. Même si vous étiez un ange, s'ils ne sont pas d'accord avec vous, ils vous présenteront comme un monstre, comme un agent de la République du Cameroun. Ils veulent que leurs ennemis soient aussi vos ennemis. Sinon, vous devenez aussi leurs ennemis. Faites attention à ne pas vous mêler de clans qui ne luttent pas pour ce qui est bon pour l'Ambazonie, mais pour ce qui est pratique pour leur groupe. Il y a une guerre que nous avons tous décidé de mener et de gagner. Ce n'est pas la guerre contre nos compatriotes. Nous ne devrions pas être définis par nos erreurs, mais par ce pourquoi nous nous sommes battus. Pour la diplomatie, le moulin de notre diplomatie tourne lentement mais sûrement. Nous apprécions nos partenaires et amis institutionnels qui ont ajouté leur voix à notre cause cette année. Du continent africain, en Europe, des États-Unis continentaux à l'Amérique du Sud, nous avons beaucoup fait pour représenter notre cause à des oreilles attentives dans des sphères élevées, suscitant la sympathie de nombreux de ceux qui, hier encore, se fichaient de notre existence. Nous ne sommes plus observés par la fenêtre. Nous sommes dans les couloirs de la décision. Ce n'est qu'une question de temps pour que les consciences qui comptent abordent le double standard pour voir avec courage que ce qui est bon pour l'Ukraine est bon pour l'Ambazonie. Et ce qui est mauvais pour l'Ukraine est mauvais pour l'Ambazonie. Mes chers compatriotes, nous sommes désormais plus proches de la fin de ce voyage qu'au début. Cette guerre a été gagnée spirituellement et mentalement. Même si notre adversaire le sait, les choses vont bientôt se jouer. Cela arrivera sûrement plus tôt que tard, que ce soit par la reddition de l'occupant, un coup d'État en République du Congo, une situation de guerre civile entre factions politiques au sein de cette République, par une certaine intervention étrangère orchestrée par les changements géopolitiques de la région, ou un règlement négocié complet entre les Ambazoniens et la République du Cameroun. 3 catalyseurs sont en jeu. La mort ou la disparition de Paul Biya, notre volonté de maintenir la flamme allumée, les bouleversements politiques, financiers ou militaires à Yaoundé, et le comportement des acteurs internationaux. Parmi ces quatre, le premier devrait être notre détermination à continuer à nous battre. Chers combattants ambazoniens, chaque famille a un élu et chaque village a quelques élus. De même, chaque nation a ses élus dans différents domaines et chaque continent a un peuple élu. Même le monde a ses nations choisies. Certains d'entre vous m'écoutent, morts ou vivants, font partie des élus que nous avons en Ambazonie. Les élus sont ceux qui sont désignés pour le salut de tous. Ils ne sont pas parfaits. La vie des élus est un sacrifice pour le bien de tous. Ambazonie, une nation qui tue ses élus, errera dans le désert pendant 40 ans comme les Israélites l'ont fait lorsqu'ils ont rejeté Moïse. Je ne soutiendrai personne qui tue un d'entre vous, un collègue, un élu, pour le pouvoir, l'envie ou l'argent. Ne vous laissez pas distraire par de vains appels à l'unité de la part de certains qui ne pensent pas qu'ils prêchent et ne prêchent pas ce qu'ils pensent. Les mots unité et collaboration signifient plusieurs choses pour différentes personnes. Notre révolution n'est pas la première en son genre. Il n'existe aucun enregistrement dans l'histoire pour soutenir le fait que toutes les forces d'un mouvement de libération doivent devenir une avant la victoire. Vous ne pouvez pas unir deux personnes ayant des points de vue opposés, sauf par le compromis. Le résultat prime avant tout. Un tel compromis signifierait qu'il faut abandonner sa position. Comment unir ou collaborer avec ceux qui ont cessé de se battre et ceux qui continuent à se battre? Comment unir ou collaborer avec ceux qui ont accepté des pots de vin et ceux qui ne l'ont pas fait? Comment unir ou collaborer avec ceux qui tuent des enfants et ceux qui renforcent les enfants? Comment unir ou collaborer avec ceux qui se dirigent vers le nord et ceux qui se dirigent vers le sud? Comment unir ou collaborer avec le crime organisé et les forces de libération? Si la réconciliation était vraiment possible, pourquoi ont-ils refusé de rester avec nous dans la maison au départ? Pourquoi ont-ils quitté la maison et essayé de faire tomber les murs? Certains ont dit qu'ils étaient partis parce qu'ils ne pouvaient plus tolérer notre désordre. Qu'est-ce qui a changé maintenant? Nous sommes toujours pleins du désordre. 3, 2, 1. Nous sommes toujours dans du désordre qu'ils ne pouvaient pas tolérer hier. Alors, que veulent-ils maintenant? Tout ce manteau d'unité. Alors, que veulent-ils vraiment maintenant sous ce manteau d'unité? Cela sent comme un mouvement calculé pour porter un nouveau coup de l'intérieur. Pourquoi devrions-nous croire les auteurs de la discorde lorsqu'ils reviennent à nouveau sans excuse en tant qu'apôtres de l'unité et de la collaboration? Il est vrai que ceux qui blessent les autres oublient leurs actions devant ceux qui sont diplomatie. Alors que nous continuons à naviguer dans les complexités de notre lutte pour l'indépendance, nous reconnaissons le progrès lent mais constant de nos efforts diplomatiques. Nous apprécions le soutien et la reconnaissance que nous avons aux États-Unis, au Royaume-Uni et au Brésil en termes de partenariat institutionnel et de reconnaissance. Nous avons fait des avancées significatives en représentant notre cause à des oreilles attentives dans des sphères critiques. Ils ne nous voient plus à travers la fenêtre. Nous sommes entrés dans les couloirs de la prise de décision. Notre message d'autodétermination et de liberté a résonné auprès de nombreux et nous sommes... Notre message d'autodétermination et de liberté a résonné auprès de nombreuses personnes et nous sommes confiants que l'opinion publique évolue en notre faveur. Comme la situation en Ukraine l'a montré, ce qui est bon pour une nation peut être bon pour une autre. Et ce qui est mal à un endroit peut être mal à un autre. Nous ne sommes pas seuls dans notre lutte et nous continuerons à établir des parallèles entre notre cause et celle d'autres nations. Chers prisonniers, résilients, réfugiés et déplacés internes, je vous salue tous pour le courage dont beaucoup d'entre vous font preuve dans des situations extrêmement difficiles. Votre résilience nous apporte espoir et confiance. Nous continuerons à plaider pour vous dans un monde en proie au conflit et divisé radicalement, afin que des aides viennent vers vous. Nous continuerons à mettre en lumière les injustices et les violations extrêmes des droits humains dont vous souffrez chaque jour aux mains du gouvernement illégitime du Cameroun français. Nous continuerons à solliciter de l'aide matérielle et spirituelle pour vous permettre de tenir le coup jusqu'à ce que la liberté arrive. Bien que nous soyons tous dans la diaspora considérés comme des réfugiés et des prisonniers à divers degrés, nous savons que certains se trouvent dans des situations plus difficiles et nécessitent notre soutien. À cet égard, j'appelle tous nos camarades patriotes à soutenir les initiatives de bonne volonté de nos départements de santé, de la santé et des services sociaux et de notre département des services aux femmes qui font de leur mieux pour tendre la main à nos centaines de milliers de personnes affectées. Nous appelons la communauté humanitaire à considérer le sort de notre peuple souffrant. Nous savons qu'une crise en éclipse une autre, mais notre peuple mérite au moins votre plaidoyer. Mes compatriotes, continuons tous ce voyage d'espoir, sachant que la vérité est de notre côté et même Dieu ne délaissera pas les justes. Il ne s'agit plus de savoir si, mais quand, et l'arbre de la liberté que nous avons arrosé de notre sang fleurira. Célébrez cette journée autour de la table avec vos enfants et expliquez-leur la raison de cette journée. Dites-leur pourquoi nous combattons et pourquoi ils ne sont pas Camerounais. Racontez les noms de nos héros nationaux et priez pour eux, afin que, si nous n'entrons pas dans la terre promise aujourd'hui, ils soient prêts à se lever pour l'occasion et achever notre parcours. Je vous souhaite une bonne fête de l'indépendance 2024. Vive nos forces armées de l'État d'Ambazonie. Vive le Southern Cameroun, Ambazonie.
My country people them for Southern Cameroon's Ambazonia. My people them for Southern Cameroon's Ambazonia. As we look for inside the number 7th anniversary for do BB celebration for Independence Day. I want to talk say I don't see him as how we don't put power plenty for turn up strong. It really fine for see him as how we even with all problem them. We don't see him for inside country. Shake, you know, for we skin. We don't also turn up strong for ground. And no nothing, the shake we. Sika say, we sabi and say this suffer, we will suffer today. They kinda glad we go come. Time we don't free all. It go make a me suffer, me be like say, it will be no nothing. As we become for peace kind of way, for find justice and for free we land. Republic people them, they be answer we now with the war. For the key plenty we innocent people them. Especially youth them. They don't look all the thing them we want them true, like it's no nothing. They don't deny we for thing we now we own. They instead talk say we will don't turn up for fight for free homeland. We been a terrorist them. We true for inside we land. That then they suffer we with all kind of violence. So when people them, the job call loss. Them the two rape and then the two kill people them. Leaders tie so for call we say terrorists them. Now let's say them they try to cover all that bad crime them against human rights. Where them they do them for inside we land. Republican governor people them, they don't spend plenty million them. Only for try to clear their name and for hide all the kind of bad in them. Where they don't do them for we innocent people them for Ambazonia. Only as how we them be deny, say they no go shit on for ground. For talk with we, for fix the problem. Not just for sure say they don't really care. The thing where they happen for we or how we come na the day. As they don't try for use power, for getting where they want them, it don't instead make them. We speed it for fight, a strong pass power. Them don't try for cause chakara for inside with people them. For cause with power, for we land, and for make them, make confusion a day. For say me they use that one so, like a thing where it dey make them, they deny for shit for table for talk with we. But as how we history they show them, we don't always day with them, like a two country them. Where they become together and all things inside the two countries then so it be na equal. Republic they no be conquer we na for inside war. And true talk na say we no be chook skin say we want join with them. Themselves them be talk and say they go respect with decision. Whether we be choose na for join for stay with them or we choose for come out. I just said he be opening him up for 1961. As he be talking for UN. He be talk say two land them, they go join. But he said all the joining so no man in Gumba house, he go change. Southern Cameroon, he go keep your own Gumba house with your own law them. He said he be talk the thing so, then he be swear them. For front BB head boy them, for plenty BB country them. He will step continue for talk and say they don't promise, they don't swear. Say them go respect Gumba house for Southern Cameroon. And say they no go try them for take Ambazonia by force. But instead, for them to keep that promise, where they may make them, in over day, we must be tough for we say they want to take the country by force, so more the end for them. With them cancel the power, we will get them for who we country, we say, with them cancel the people them we will be. Today, we want to remember the sacrifice them, we will own hero them, we do not so day with we, they may make them for we. As well they begin their life them, for palapala ground, for fight, for help, for stop all the bad in them, what did happen for we. For same will get with freedom. We hold them for high place. As well we continue with struggle. For put back with dignity. For we like people them. For we forget back with power. For justice kind of way. My countryman and my countrywoman them. At the back now for so turn up strong. For inside we fight. We know being the kind of people them who they run from that problem them. Most also continue for the denial. For staying the public people them. Me they no come out with for map. We get for turn up strong, for say many people them, or they come with them, we they no continue for the cause with plenty pain. Most also continue for the whole bad colonial people them, for all the bad in them, where they do them for humanity. If thief, killing, with the annexation, na bad in them, we if you do them for person, then the public state, na criminal state. As we the match fire for go front. Move fight with new strong spirit for push me for front. We want them to say more control get them. Me get justice. We go look all man with one eye. And freedom, you go there for all man. My country people them for Southern Cameroons. More show plenty respect for we hero them. We they don't fall for inside fight. We innocent country people them, we republic people them, they don't kill them. Me want to give plenty respect for people them we don't turn up say they go so the fight for we. Me remember the thing way we prepare them where they will start outing for we, they be want them. As we they feel only glad now Sika say they don't see them as how we don't turn up for fix the bad thing and where they happen. We get for so continue for the push we ride for life for before. We ride for live free. Like a other all UN trust territory country them. Within they free for East Africa and also. We really get forget we own society. Place where we contribute people them. They fish it down for inside peace with dignity. As we part them where they be start outing for we, they want them semi day. We come be them where they turn up for we and with we. Today don't enter we, say no way people them than Gomna. They don't arrest on Southern Cameroon man. As when a person, we don't do bad in them for people them. Crime them for humanity. We the hope say, true, no be secret politics kind of thing them, we the arrest so it be happen. And say people them for Norway, them go judge the suspect so, with their law, and not be na the public law, where them go use them. Even as we know they support the kind of bad in them, we ADF people them, they don't do them. We expect them say, me universal or big justice system, like the one for Norway. Me they respect the way them for law. Respect the right them for other citizens them. For do justice for correct way. And for say, me they consider all suspect them innocent. Until true, they say I'm say the person they hand no clean. So me law, you do your work. We sabi and find say, now only innocent people them, they go free. And people them with their hand them no clean. Them they only face law true. Now for place, we law it they correct. And fear and favor, you know they. Norway, you know, been a banana republic. So may I use the chance for member justice minister for Norway. Say we in Gomna for Southern Cameroon them. We be write on criminal complaint book. We the so wait for inside a court and we'll be write and so now for 2019. For their court against certain 98 people them we they don't kill them. We to war crime suspect them for Cameroon. We them don't also travel from Norway to Cameroon and from Cameroon to Norway. We na go do better justice for humanity. If we not fit to check the complaint book then so we'll be right them for use and for do investigate. Woman them with man them. We don't win war where they become start them for on top we. For person for understand them so we don't win the fight. The person fair get for understand them the two will want them for inside the fight from the beginning. We win, no be na say we get for kill all the public equilibrate them. As people them, we wicked people them, they don't the shit off inside we land. They worry we. The first thing we will be get for do na say we no be get for fall, we be get for turn up strong. And true, we don't the turn up and we also the turn up for stay 7 years and now so for protect we land. We not still be another dog them with that rat them where they be talk say they will can't finish we for inside 2 weeks them. After so take 7 years them, we blood they don't throw away Sika war. Enemy, you never succeed. For win people them, where they be the call and say rat them. But instead, we don't also take 80% for the Ngomna power, for we land we got giwi. Their song where they don't sing them, say one and indivisible. It don't the loss, people them don't forget them. Today so, we get we own rule them, we will follow them, for inside Ambazonia. And the public people them, they get their own too, where they follow them, we different. We don't the hold with destiny. We don't the shock the war, especially France, with the other people them. We don't the help for plan for white people all. We don't succeed for broke war economy for the public. We don't the move life for French Cameroon. Better Cameroon, the whole for their ship, we don't the fall for inside water. Or all their country, Kolala N, inside big hole for insecurity with plenty suffer. Yesterday, Britain be the talk am say Southern Cameroon, you know, if it's tiny one for economic kind of way, we no join with the French Cameroon. Today, table it don't turn. Seeing why the year and also na say Cameroon, you know, if it's stand where Ambazonia, you know, day. They kind of start so for look the other side. French people them, they be don't learn them. And they be say the idea so for international community. For help French Cameroon for finish we. But it's small, it don't show clear. Say the kind of style so. If them also continue on a so with this style, it go drag Republic people them enter ground. And they no go self get chance for correcting them. Moon turn up strong. My people them. We be that generation. We funcha, it be pray for them, for we die. Yes. My country people them for Amazonia, we strong warriors them. We no lost hope, seeker say, some people then day where they don't pay them, for try for distract una, for kill una spirit, for fight. We no lose hope, seeker some people them, where they don't give up, or they don't lose their focus them. No yet talk for people them, where that talk be like say, you no get problem, but it's true, then say, they lie for their skin. Seeker say they no fit separate true thing from lie one. For the level for inside we struggle. Use your head correct for choose better friend. No level may they choose a friend for you. Chakara go day for inside combi them for food them. Plenty people them they make plenty noise. The talk na only bad thing them. Them they also cause people them way true they fight for Amazonia. So they step threatening them. The people them they never talk like say they been a better people them. But it's true they know one better thing for we. And I like people them too where they like to control people them. Except if you be angel and the people them so they no sitting them as you see them. They go try for make them maybe like say you be bad person. Like say you the work now for Republic people them. They want time for say me the enemy them. Me they be their own enemy them too. And if you no agree, you self you go turn the enemy them. Mo look out for no mix with the kind of people them. Where them the fight. Now for thing way you find for them. And not be nothing way you find for all we for Amazonia. War day where we say we be talk so we go fight and like a one man. And not be now for instead turn for the fight now we come be them. We know they look like you say that we mistake them. We talk the kind of people them we will be. But to me we instead sabi the kind of people them we will be. Seek out the thing where all we don't turn forget them. For on top palava diplomacy, we machine it grind small, but it go. We give big thank you for we come be them. We don't join our voice them for inside we fight, for push we struggle. For say me go for before the year. From Africa to Europe, from USA to South America, we don't do plenty thing them. For turn up, for show we struggle. For big people them, for big place them. We don't give we ear for talk for them. And plenty people them. We only yesterday, they don't be care whether we day or we no day. They don't get sorry hard for we. We know the dasso look now for window, but in also we dey inside house them. They talk, they make decision them. Now only time now it remain for say me had them for people them where if you talk big thing on top with palava. Be them say and say the thing we find for Ukraine, it too fine for Amazonia, and the thing we no find for Ukraine, you know too fine for Amazonia. My country people them. Now so we don't reach place where we go, and road is no long. Reach the way we dey, time will be start. We don't already win the war spiritually, and do for isa we hate. Even as how we enemy them sabiam. Final, it go soon play quick. It go surely happen. Whether not by surrender, with Republic people them, then do am. Or them go court country for Republic that side. Or war, it go there for inside and gomna. Or different people them for outside. They will can't look for inside the palava. For we chakara, we see the Republic people them. Or serve na for we, for she don't talk, we see the Republic people them. 3 or 14 and day, we the go fi make am, meeting a worker quick. Die, on a semi pobia, it disappear. We spirit for continue, for light with fire, for political kind of way, and for support with the money. Or ekelebe them for cause chakara for inside Yaoundé. And how BB people them, for the world they go take the chakara so. Inside all the thing and so, the number one thing, get for being our spirit for continue for the fight. Dear ASA them, all family, they get person where they don't choose them. And all village, they get some people them where they don't choose them too. All country too, they get people them where they don't choose them. According to the place where they need them. Sub-continent them, they get a country them where they don't choose them. Sub the whole world, they get own country them where they don't choose them. Some of we now, where we not the hear me now so, dead or alive. When they inside the choosing, we'll get them for inside Ambazonia. The people them, where they don't rub oil for that front head them, choose them. Now them go carry we enter for inside light. You know means na perfect people them. Life for people them, where they don't choose them, na sacrifice for all we. Ambazonia, country with the key own people them, where they don't choose them. Them go turn inside desert for so take 40 years them or more, like the Israel people them, time when they be deny Moses. I no go Graham, me any man, the key any of una. There can be person where they don't choose them. Only Sika say them define power, long throat or longer for money. Me the people them, where they know they ever mean thing where they talk am. No can distract me now. With their call for unity. Unity or for work together. It means different in them for different people them. No be we, being at the first people them. For the inside we cannot fight. No talk, it dey for some side for history. For all I'm say, all power them, where they fight for free their country, they get for come together before victory it go day. You know if you join people them, where they know the city in them, the same. Except say some understanding it go day. The kind of understanding way it go mean say, me some person it drop a position. How two people them, they go join or work together. With someone, if you don't stop for fight, but see the other one, it did also continue for fight. How if you join them? How two people them, they go join or work together. With someone, they don't take choco, but see the other one, they know they take them. How two people them, they go work together or they go join. With someone, they keep picking them, but see the other one, they make them picking them strong. How two people them, they go work together or they go join. With someone, they go north, but see the other one them, they go south. How two people them, they go work together or they go join. With someone, they been active them, but see the other one, that we force them for free we. If for fixed problem, then join two people them be easy so. Then why them be denied for stay with we for house for the first time? Why them be common house, then try to break the wall them? Some people then talk say, then be common seeker say, they don't be fit continue for the support with Chakara. But say we don't change now so. We that's a flop now with that Chakara we don't know one time yesterday. So true, they really want na witty with the that talk so for unity. The one so it smell like a thing where they don't plan them for attack we or inside we. Why we get for believe the people them would them be deny unity? As where they come back like a people them where they want unity and say we work together. Now really true say people them where they do bad for person. They forget the thing where they don't do them before the person where they do bad for you. For inside diplomacy, as we continue for the worker inside the plenty different in them, for inside we struggle for free homeland. We receive the power for work for diplomacy, even as how we slow, but it go for before. We give thank you for support. With Isabi, we don't get them for US, UK, with Brazil. On top Palava and Gumba has come be them. We don't walk a long road for sure we struggle. For big people them, we don't give ear for talk for them. Them not the dasso see we, now only for window them. We don't enter house. So we make decision on them. We message for turn up for ground for fight, for we freedom. It don't pass fine with plenty people them. And we don't sabi and say, plenty people them. They don't look we with a sorry heart. As the palaver where they for inside Ukraine, it don't show. Thing we fine for one country, it fine for another country. And thing we you know fine for some country, you know fine for any other country too. We know then only we inside we fight. And we go continue for the check sense for how struggle for we country, it go for line. With the way we struggle for other country them, they to go. We strong prisoner them, we refugee them, we IDP them. I salute all winner. For strong heart, we plenty of winner. We not don't show them inside plenty palaver them. We not strong heart, we not spirit for fight. It make them, we get hope for turn up can't for ground. We will continue for the turn up, for the talk for win a chance, for inside the fight, for say, me help become for we road. We will continue for the true light, for injustice, with the bad human abuse them. We will not suffer all day. For the public government people them, they are hand them. We will continue for the fine material them, with the spiritual help for help winner, for support seeking, so take with freedom, it come.
Until freedom comes.
Even as we, them fit talk say, all we for diaspora, na refugee them, with the prisoner them.
In varying degrees.
We sabi and say, some people them, their own condition, they worse pass on other people them, and they need we support. So with the talk so, I dey call with good heart come be them, for support good work, with department for health, with the social services, with the department for women them, their service. Where they don't try their best for help hundreds of thousands of people them. We they think so, it don't really touch them. We dey call humanitarian community for look inside palava for people them with the suffer with the sorry heart. We sabi and say some crisis for the war if it covers the other one. But at least with people them, they need winner support. My people them, we continue for the worker with the hope as we sabi and say true a day for we side. And serve God, he no go left people them with the day for side for good. No be still palava for if, but in a palava for when. And the tree for freedom. We don't throw away with blood for day, like your water, it go come out fine. Celebrate the day so with we not picking them for table. Tell them why we the day so it happen. Tell them why we the fight. And why they no be Cameroonian them. Remember them, they name them for we national hero them. Then pray for them, for say, if we no enter promised land today, them go there ready for Europe, for Tanap, for complete we waka. I dey wish we now happy Independence Day 2024. Viva with Ambazonian State Armed Forces them. Viva Southern Cameroon Ambazonia. Thank you now.
Chosen generation, we've been called for to show His excellence. Hey, all I require for life, God has given me, and I know who I am. We are a chosen generation, we've been called for to show His excellence. All I require for life, God has given me, for I know who I am. I know who God says I am, what He says I am, where He says I'm at. I know who I am. I know who God says I am, what He says I am, where He says I'm at. I know who I am. I'm working in power, I work in miracles, I live a life of favor. I know who I am.
We are the chosen generation of the nation of Ambazonia at this critical time of war. And just to remind you again, on the 10th of November this year, details of the link for how to get your tickets and book your reservation, it's going to be happening in Houston, Texas. That is at the Sunland Multipurpose Center. Will be receiving or having one of the world's most popular gospel music icon. And as soon as we have her, that will be the beginning of greater things to happen. I have with me in the studio the Secretary of State for Communications and IT, Secretary Martin Mungwa, PhD. Dr. Mungwa, I'm not sure that we need to give any formal presentation of who you are. Actually, the people of Ambazonia, the people of Ambazonia, for the past 2 hours, or I would say an hour, have been listening to the president talking to them in 3 different languages. That's in English, in French, and in Pidgin. It was a night we've all been waiting for. This is the end of the year for the people of Ambazonia, and the president would have transitioned us in a most extraordinary way possible. You've heard this speech, you've listened to it. Please talk to us as we start this post analysis.
Thank you, Paddy. Dear Ambazonians, first 21 gun salute to our state army, the Ambazonian State Army, and also to of course, everybody on the home front, Ambazonians. This speech by the president is a culmination of what we have fought for since this revolution started. And as we came closer to the finish line, as the president himself said it, we had to re-strategize. And you can see that after our comrades were indicted for crimes so-called related to terrorism, we did a number of things. First, we had to rebrand the government, and you no longer heard of the interim government. And you can see that from that rebranding, it became very clear that those who were clamoring to be part of the interim government were all trying to replace Dr. Sako and take us back to Yaoundé. And since that plan failed, you can see that they have gone silent and nobody even knows where they are today. And you can see the importance of that rebranding. Now, moving to 2024, which was actually christened as the year of acceleration, you saw the government actually taking an offensive on the international scene. And you can see what we did with the support of Professor Lennox Hines regarding our jail comrades. And we did receive the letter. I think I did mention that to you. It was exactly on the 27th of June this year when the U.S. Department of Justice wrote a letter to me stating that our case is a civil case. It is not a criminal case. So that brought to rest a major, major concern of Ambazonians for a long time. And from this offensive, you saw what we did through, connecting with the Association of Black lawyers in the UK, African American lawyers in the United States, the African Union lawyers, and of course, the support of the former Chief Justice of the Kenyan Supreme Court, Dr. Musungu. So all this, legal might came together, and now we are actually at a different level. And I'm not going to talk much about it because it is still in gestation. And we're going to go into a very, very important legal part of our struggle in order to make sure that our independence is assured, or our sovereignty. Of course, in the same light, you must have seen what La République did. Having probably used all its arrows in its quiver, they decided to bring or promote one Philemon Yang, hoping that he was going to resuscitate La République's international posture. And for those who watched the General Assembly meeting, which I took very personal, because I wanted to see the reaction of the prime movers of world power, especially the United States. And I noticed something very subtle. Unlike other diplomats or speakers who came on the podium, they started by congratulating Philemon Yang for being elected president of this session. Secretary Blinken and President Biden went straight and made their speech without making any reference to Yang. That is a message. Silence speaks. Silence is powerful. Why didn't they congratulate him? That is a question. The answer is blowing the wind. There must be a fundamental reason why they never congratulated him. And that is the reflection of La République du Cameroon on the international scene. Because they thought that by bringing a so-called Philemon Yang, who is a so-called Anglophone, he is going to give La République some sort of a whitewash. Yeah. And it failed woefully. I want people to understand this, because very often we never see the little detail. As I said, I'm a very curious guy. I may not be bright, but I'm very curious. I always look into details. And that was the detail that caught my eyes. And I said, there you go. I hope the world, or La République, or Ambazonians are seeing exactly how the American diplomats treated Philemon Yang. They did not respect him at all. And that goes to the entire country. On the home front, our defense has become stronger and stronger. They have disrupted, degraded, and neutralized La République du Cameroon thugs at every turn, because our fighters are seasoned and they know the terrain. Needless to say that even they themselves, within their ranks, from all the intelligence that we received, they don't know how, they don't have an exit plan. And that's the worst for every military. If you do not have an exit plan, you rather, I would suggest that don't enter. If you want to enter, make sure you know how to get out. Now, La République is stuck. They don't know what to do. And you can see what they're doing, committing all sorts of human rights abuses and genocide. And you can see the desperation within the La République itself. It came to a point when they realized that they did not have the military might to control us. They went and signed a contract with a thug, another thug, Choyaba. And when they realized that he wasn't delivering the goods, they turned him over. So, it is very clear from what the
Dr. Mungwa, just to cue you in with what the president said there, I'm going to bring just that. I think it was about the 6th minute of the president's address. I want Ambazonians to listen again as you re-echo it. A true leader, how objective he was in analyzing that situation with his speech, the proposal he would have given to Norway, and the fact that he understands that as a leader of Ambazonia at this time, you are a leader of every Ambazonian, the good, the bad, and the ugly. You would have the president there actually advocating for fair justice. Let's listen to him, and right after that, you will have to speak. Yeah.
We must continue to assert our right to life, our right to live free, like every other former UN trust territory in Africa today. We deserve our own society where our people can live in peace and dignity as was envisaged by our founding fathers. Dear comrades of the resistance, we have received reports that a certain southern Cameroonian has been arrested in Norway by the government of Norway for suspicion of committing crimes against humanity. We hope that that arrest was not politically motivated and that the suspect shall be judged under Norwegian law, not Cameroon law. Inasmuch as we do not condone the gross acts of atrocity crimes allegedly committed by the ADF, we expect the justice system of a universal jurisdiction like Norway to respect the rule of law, respect the rights of all her citizens to a fair and speedy trial, and consider every suspect innocent until proven guilty. So let the law take its course. We know that the innocent is vindicated and the criminal only goes down or goes under where the law is correctly interpreted without fear or favor. Norway is not a banana republic. Therefore, let me use this opportunity to also remind the Justice Minister of Norway that we, the government of the people of the Southern Cameroons, we have a pending criminal complaint filed in 2019 in your courts against 98 genocide and war crime suspects in Cameroon who also travel to and fro from Norway.
Wow, wow,
Absolutely.
wow, wow.
You see,
That's amazing.
That's the message of a statesman. Yes.
There are two things there. Number one, insisting for justice and reminding the authorities of the case we fight. So we had seen this 5 years. That's 2019. That's 5 years ago. We could identify every criminal on the ground, and a formal report was given. Thank God, perhaps Norway is reacting now. Please, Dr. Mungwa.
Absolutely. And that is consistent with the policy of the government of Southern Cameroon's Ambazonia. We have to govern as a responsible government. If you took part in the series of ethics appearances, you realize that I also make it very clear that everybody in Ambazonia will be treated fairly, and that even those who might have migrated from La Republique and settled on our land and who have been fighting side by side with us, they are Ambazonians, period. We are not going to judge them because of their name or because of their origin, but simply on the basis of how they have also put their lives on the line in order to defend Ambazonia. So that's consistent within the government. And we are not there to create any problems with La Republique because we can never change La Republique as our neighbors. They shall always be our neighbor. We cannot say today, no, we want our neighbors to be Ghana. There's no way that's going to happen. So we are cognizant of that fact. But it appears to me that La Republique behaves as if somehow they can get rid of us or change us or bring some other country to be their neighbors. And that's why they will just rather get rid of us because they'll probably never see us again. That is extremely short-sighted and very, very silly in a way. So this is the message that we want to send to all Ambazonians. And when I mean all Ambazonians, I mean those who believe in the spirit of sovereignty, in the spirit of our people, regardless of where your origins are. Whether you came from outside Ambazonia or you were born and bred in Ambazonia. So long as you are with us in this revolution, you are part of us 100%. And you'll be free to live anywhere in Ambazonia. Freely. And the law will make it so. And nobody will ever trample on your rights simply because you came from another part of Ambazonia and you settled somewhere you felt you were more comfortable. And this is a message I'm also sending, the message the government is also sending to all those typical Anglophone or Ambazonian politicians who have spent a greater part of their life trying to divide us. Some will say, oh, you come from Graphic land. This one will say, Graphic land, you come from coast, and so on and so forth. That will not be tolerated in Amazonia. No way. And the Bill of Rights will actually spell that very clearly. So this is the message I'm sending today, Independence Day of Southern Cameroon. And I hope that message is very powerful. And that message is coming directly from the government of the Federal Republic of Southern Cameroon, Amazonia.
Yeah, I want to indicate that, Dr. Mungwa, Ambazonians can call in. If you're watching at the home front or you're watching anywhere in the diaspora, you have listened to the president. And as we're making this post analysis, I'm hoping to see if I could get the chief of staff and Dr. Barrister Mbeseha and Lady Casey, if possible, if they can join us, because I know they are busy. They were with the president in Washington for an extraordinary extended cabinet meeting, which is quite remarkable. So that's the number on your screens, +12404133997. You can only call via WhatsApp to make your contribution in this post analysis. And just after that, we're going to be streaming the Portuguese and the Spanish translations of the president's speech. But before Dr. Mungwa makes a comment again, let me see if I can get Barrister Mbeseha to join. I'd like us to listen to another portion of the president's address that is quite remarkable for us to talk on.
We'll do greater justice to humanity by picking up our complaint for investigation also. Ladies and gentlemen, we have won the war declared on us. To understand our victory, one must understand the battle we set ourselves to win from the beginning. Our victory does not comprise of killing all enemy forces. As a people targeted by a ruthless occupier for annihilation, our number one goal was survival. And yes, we have survived the 7 years, still resisting. We are no more the dogs and the rats or the frogs they decided to eliminate in 2 weeks. After 7 bloody years of a brutal war, the enemy has not succeeded to crush a ragtag gorilla. On the contrary, we have uprooted 80% of their administrative presence in our God-given territory. The so-called one and indivisible sing-song has gradually become a retired mantra. Today, one set of rules apply in Amazonia, another set of rules apply in French Cameroon. We are taking hold of our destiny. We have shocked the world, especially France, and those aiding and abetting this extermination project. We have succeeded to crumble the war economy of the Republic of Cameroon. We are bleeding the life out of the French Cameroon. Either Cameroon keeps holding onto its sinking Titanic, or this whole geographical space will be plunged into an abyss of insecurity and economic misery. Yesterday, Britain argued that
I want us to take it in bits because there's a lot in it. You see, Dr. Mungwa, the president starts with hope. Hope at a time when probably the arrest and a lot of Ambazonians are feeling a little discouraged or something. And then the president, the leader they are looking up to, looks at them and tells them, we are not only winning, we have already won. What a great analogy there. Dr. Mungwa, talk with us. Let me bring
Absolutely. Absolutely. You have to understand that the strength of every movement is a function of the cohesion of the leadership and the ability of the leadership to generate hope, to generate an atmosphere of calmness. Because remember, people already only struggle through difficulty if there is hope in the future. We have to demonstrate that what we are yearning for is better than what we have. And that's why even during, if you all remember, when we had the first African American president, he said, yes, we can. And he talked about the hope of the future. That is the same position that we find ourselves today. And that's why we have taken time not only to fight the war, but also to project what sort of society that we intend to fabricate or we intend to build for the good of all. And therefore, that sort of galvanizes our people and to make them understand that there is a better tomorrow. And if there is a better tomorrow, we better fight today. And that's essentially what the president is trying to say. There is a better tomorrow for Ambazonians and for Ambazonians' neighbors, not just for Ambazonians alone. We want to be good neighbors with La République du Cameroon, where we will respect each citizen of that country, just like we respect ours. But it must come with some element of maturity between the two peoples. But when you see one part actually behaving like savages, thinking that savagery is the only way to bring peace, I think they are mistaken. And that's why we have been winning all the time. We won the minds of Ambazonians way before even La République felt that maybe they are doing something wrong. Maybe we can change, but it was too late. And you can see why, despite the atrocities that have been meted out on our people, they still stay strong because it is in the spirit. You cannot kill a spirit. And the person who is at the head of it is our president, Dr. Samuel Sako. He is an embodiment of that spirit, which means that if it was a relay, the baton started from Endele, came to Foncha, now it is with Dr. Sako. So that's what it means. And tomorrow he may hand it over to somebody else. It may even be a Namundo, wherever that person is from, Ambazonia, to lead us into the future. That's why this speech was so powerful, because it wasn't just about our physical situation, it also talked about our spiritual situation. And the two combined makes the Ambazonian, because we have the physical part and we have the spiritual part. We conquered La République spiritually years ago, and they did not even know. And how can I prove it? From all the misguided and all the treachery and tricks and manipulations that they played on our people over 70 years, develop our spiritual mind. And it is our spirit controlling us today. Because we can always look back and say, oh, this is what these people did to us. So whatever they try to show us today, we always reflect back and we have a color, a image of what they have done before. And there's no way they can trick us again. So that's the point. I mean, it is even unfortunate that La République hasn't picked this up. But I think they are beginning to realize that you cannot hit the spirit with a gun and take it out of yourself. It's not going to work. It's not going to work. They are just trying to drag this war, but ultimately they know they have lost. And we are going to gain our sovereignty. And as Mr. President said, it is actually closer than ever before. And that is the message that Ambazonians must understand today.
Yeah, the president says the final match is closer. Mbeseha, I'm coming to you now. You're welcome. Thank you for joining us with this wonderful post-analysis of the president's speech. I'll be bringing Dr. Yaya and Lady Casey to join us in a few minutes. I think they're connected now. But this is it. Look at the president, year number 7, after the declaration and proclamation of our independence restored. For the very first time, we have a leader in Ambazonia that is telling us and telling the world that we have already won. What an amicable way of pushing us forward. Barrister Mbeseha, please talk to us.
Well, thank you for having me. I think the president has said it all. He's addressed Amazonians, but his message goes beyond Amazonia. He addresses like people to Cameroon, and most importantly, he addresses the world by one, explaining where we are coming from. He cites the promises made publicly by the Republic of Hugo back in the 1960s. He cites the breach of those promises and us, even in international law, international relationships depend on keeping your own promises. And so that's where we're coming from, for people who doubted it. Why then are we fighting? The promises were breached. And then he reminds the world, the UK and the international community at large, that we were told that the reason they had to join somebody else was that they believed we could not survive on our own. But as we speak today, he says, the story has changed. That the people who were forced to join cannot survive without us. Therefore, the tables have turned. They talks to Amazonians. In a very simple language, every family has a leader. Every village has a leader. Every community has a leader, chosen by the people. But none of these leaders, he says, shall ever be perfect human beings. They shall never be perfect human beings. And so sitting there and crying about this and left and right, you're not going, if you abandon Moses, he says, like the Israelites abandoned Moses. And so far in the 40 years in the desert. And even thereafter, they didn't find the promised land until 1,948 years after. And so this is a message that he tells the world and tells Ambazonians. We are here today because we have fought. We are here today because we have sacrificed in spite of our own difficulties, in spite of our human weaknesses, he says. And then I think he answers everybody, even the international community and the tribunals and everybody who are calling for unity. Unity, what does unity mean, he says? How do you unite with somebody who is going east and you are going west? How do you unite with somebody who has since abandoned the fight and then you are still fighting? And then, above all, he talks of a certain Southern Cameroon Ambazonian arrested in Oslo and being put on trial. And he reminds the Norwegian government that it's a very good thing you did that. But the very Department of Justice in Oslo, you have in your keeping a complaint was filed against human rights violations 4 or 5 years back. It will be better for you and for the international community at large to act on those complaints, because that's where justice will be seen to be done, he says. I think overall, as we're going to address different aspects of it, the summary of what he has said is clear to us Ambazonians, clear to the international community, clear to our opponents. And above all, it is clear to us that we're on a path, we're on a journey of no return. We have to fight to the end. Over to you.
That's amazing. I first of all would like to thank the press sec. I want to thank the press secretary and the chief of staff for opting to join. I know you guys are both within a very uncomfortable environment, and I want to be sure that you're done eating, because there's no eating on this set for today. It is the president's speech analysis.
That's not Paddy.
just before we get to that, please, let's listen again to a little aspect of what the president said, and we will come back to make some analysis, please.
Southern Cameroons cannot survive economically without joining French Cameroon. Today the table has turned. What I hear now is Cameroon cannot survive without the Southern Cameroons, Ambazonia. The strategy of looking away was adopted by the French and sold to the international community to help France or French Cameroon crush us. But gradually, it is becoming clearer today that that strategy, if sustained, will sink La République du Cameroun altogether without possibility of redemption. Do not give up. My people, we are the generation Fonye prayed for at his death. Yes. Fellow Ambazonians, die-hard warriors, do not be discouraged by some corrupt few hired to discourage you. Do not be discouraged by some who have given up or broken their focus. Do not listen to some who may sound sincere to you but are themselves deceived just because they cannot separate truth from lies. At this stage of our struggle, choose your friends carefully. Don't allow them to choose you. A companion of food.
Wonderful. And this would have been the best time to bring in the ladies, Dr. Mungwa and by Mbeseha. We want to give honors to them. I will surely be liberating them to leave soon. I had to pick them from from a very tight corner, but they are very important members of government. You have the press secretary of the president and the chief of staff of the government. Yeah, and they are with the president in Washington right now as we even broadcast this important program. You have Lady Casey. We saw on social media your beautiful pictures. You were boarding from London to Washington. And Dr. Yaya from Germany to Washington for strategic reasons. You may want to even tell us a little bit about, the president has nice things to say. If you have any that you think the public should know, we wouldn't mind to know. But if not, just focus on the speech you've come to analyze. I'll begin with you, Dr. Yaya.
Thank you, Director Paddy. I don't know if you can hear me, and thank you, fellow viewers and co-panelists. It's always an honor to be here on our national TV to commemorate our Independence Day and to talk on issues regarding our nation, our restored nation, that of the Federal Republic of Ambazonia. Good evening, good day from wherever you're watching.
Oh, thank you. I thought you were going to be reacting to the speech. Lady Casey, please.
Oh.
Lady Casey, can you hear me? Apparently your sound is coming from behind.
No,
yes,
I can hear you very clearly.
Okay, you just heard the president. Please talk to us.
Yes, greetings everyone. Happy Independence Day in advance. Yes, we are here in Washington, D.C. with the president, and it's such an honor and privilege to celebrate this 1st of October, commemorate our Independence Day with the president and some distinguished comrades of our freedom cause. And it's been such an honor. It's been a warm welcome by DMV, country heads and executives and some of their members. It's been wonderful so far, and we're looking forward to continue our independence commemoration. With the president, it's still evening here in Washington, D.C., and it's still about 5 p.m. or so. So we are looking forward to that. And, listening to the president address so many different aspects of our struggle. And one of them I want to focus on is that we should have hope that we will not be fighting if there isn't, if we didn't have a cause. And he said, we should not give up, in exact words. And he went on to outline reasons why we should not give up. We have come this far not to just come this far. We have come this far to get to our expected destination. And the president, trying to analyze our president in his simplicity is always challenging, because he is so articulate and eloquent in such a way that when you listen to him, you will get the message. You will never miss the point. And we should focus on, if you look at his message in overall, it's focused on how far we have come, why we should have hope, the challenges we have faced, and why we should keep on mounting and overcoming every challenge. So he's, articulates his message from different angles and bringing, our struggle a fresh, there's always this fresh hope, there's always refreshing or refreshment or reigniting our energy and our revolutionary spirit when he addresses issues and aspects on our nations in his speeches, and this is one of them. Thank you.
Amazing, amazing. Dr. Yaya, you have to come on camera. I know where you are. You're actually trying to, you people are partying and actually commemorating. I hope I can have Dr. Yaya on camera. But before we get Dr. Yaya again, Dr. Mungwa, you heard the president there in that second aspect of the economic sabotage, his effectiveness, and the need for us to choose who we commune with. Talk to us, please.
Right, absolutely. I mean, economic sabotage has been one of our greatest weapons to bring La République to its knees. And at times, I really wonder whether those leaders in La République, whether they're actually in charge. I mean, I know they are not anyway, so we shouldn't even deceive ourselves. What makes the economy work? All over the world, everybody knows what makes the economy work. The cost of energy. If the cost of energy is not as little as possible, as low as possible, the economy cannot work. And when you have economic sabotage, and yet the leaders do not know the impact on the economy, then there's just something fundamental wrong. Either they're not in power, or they're just placeholders, or they're just proxies. And which I think that's what the government of La République is, because they're all being ruled from France. So those who are in La République, they're all Vichy. I don't know how to define them. They all have Vichy mentality. Corrupt, steal, you don't care about your fellow countrymen. And that's why the economy is in shambles, because if it is your country and it's going down the drain for reasons that you cannot justify, I think it's time to say, stop this, because we all die. But they don't care, because they're all French citizens, as if now La République is a foreign land from them. It's a foreign land. So the whole belief that when things go bad, they'll all evacuate and go and stay in Paris or in France from all the money that they have looted. That's why they don't care about the economy. And it's important that La République citizens understand this. There are four things that will control the future: the cost of money, energy, the cost of energy, the cost of labor, and the cost of transportation. These are the four elements that will control. And the only way you can control these four elements is innovation. We Ambazonians have to understand that we have to innovate.
Yeah.
We have to be creative. That's what is going to put us on the map. It's not going to be a free pass. Don't think that any country will just like us and give us money. We have the brains in Ambazonians to innovate. And we are going to ignite that knowledge to be creative. And when we innovate and we create, these four elements that I just mentioned to you will come under control. Otherwise, we are destined for a very, very long ride in the wilderness.
Thank you very much.
The cabinet is aware of that.
Wonderful. It's important when Ambazonians, during such a day, we just have news that Cameroon is invading some places to think they want to interrupt anything festivities that our people, I'm going to read those places now on the air. We've had them from Kemi Asho and others reporting how the military is trying to target civilians. Dr. Yaya, please, you may want to come on screen. I know the chief of staff is someone who likes to be very diligent in the way she speaks. So you may want to come on air. Just bring on your mic. And I want to liberate the both of you now. But just tell us how you feel listening to the president or listening to these few words that we have been able to talk about now. You have just a few minutes to do that, so I can let you people go and continue to bask in the glory of the president's presence. Please talk to us.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Director Paddy, and greetings once more to our great panelists, Dr. Mungwa, Barrister Mbeseha, and Lady Casey, of course. It's an honor to, like I said, to be in company of our comrades and also our well-wishers. And this is a very special occasion, the commemoration of our Independence Day. And again, we saw in our president, His Excellency Dr. Samuel Ikome Sako, a visionary leader who is very poised and focused. He knows exactly the job that lies ahead of him, and he addresses this, in fact, as a true leader. He speaks in the capacity of the president in his address to the nation and also to the international community. And there's one thing that's struck me. Lady Casey actually highlighted that, that spirit of hope, that we're fighting a just cause, and therefore it really doesn't matter who says what, it is just, and the end is obvious. Our free and the restoration of our statehood is non-negotiable, and we cannot settle for less. So one thing that struck me, one of the points that he talked about was those clamoring for unity. Again, the government has always been an inclusive government that has always stretched its arm, to reach out for collaboration. And therefore, when the word or the terminology unity is brought up time and again, the question we should ask ourselves is not just the use of the word unity, but for whatever reason, how genuine is this proposal? You can't be asking for unity when, many a times the hand has been reached out for collaboration and unity and yet rejected. We can't talk about unity and yet we have, let's say, groups or people who organize side meetings and try to alienate the government, and yet we talk about unity. So there is some dishonesty somewhere, there is some hypocrisy somewhere. However, we know that true Ambazonians really do want a free nation, and they know what to do. So the president actually spoke as the president of a government and highlighted some of the roles and things that this government has done in the past. And one of them that really struck me is the filing of the case. I'm not a legal expert. Thank God we have Barrister Mbeseha here on board. That was filed in 2019 to the Norwegian government to actually review the war crimes or the genocide crimes committed against the people of Ambazonia. So he came up above every other thing and acted as the father of a nation, asking for justice to be served in the issues that concern,
That plague in Amazon.
Exactly. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Dr. Yaya. I know you're under pressure now because your environment and a lot of things to do before tomorrow's
I
festivities.
understand
I
that.
want to thank you for accepting to be here for these few minutes. Thank you very much for coming. We appreciate every contribution you would have made here now. Thank you very much. Barrister Mbeseha, please. You've heard the excerpt we gave there before we brought in the ladies. Talk to us again before we move on with this analysis.
Well, I don't know whether I should talk about the except or something else, but let me say something else to those ladies.
Go ahead, please.
Now, the ladies, they have something in common. They are all attached to the presidency, press secretary, chief of staff. And the president could not have made this powerful speech without their input, without their commas, without their full stops. And these are ladies. These ladies, from what I see and everybody sees, they have charming that is beyond consideration. They are the best we can find in the world. And so, on my own part as an individual and as an elder, I will only tell them that when they get back home, let them thank their husbands, thank their children for allowing them this chance to be with us. We beat any other nation in the world with our ladies in terms of beauty, in terms of intellect, in terms of any other thing that you can imagine. So thank you, ladies. Thank Mr. President for making the choice because he appointed you. And so it's a good job. About the next segment. Now, Dr. Mungwa said something when you were talking about economy. 4 things that they need to do, that they need to know. That's a fact. Those who need to know those facts are civilized people. But I've always said that these people of La Republic, they're a collection of criminals, armed robbers. They don't understand those facts. They have elections due next year for the president. Go on their websites and see what it's all about. They're not fighting about a better economy. They're not fighting about anything. They are fighting about who will take the spoils in terms of profit. Is it the Betis that they will take? Is it the Bamili case that will take their time? The Hausas, whoever. And so these people understand economy only in the sense of graft, in the sense of theft. That is why they will never rise against all those things. That's why something as common as Kale Kale, which sole goal is to extort money from people. It has become the law in Cameroon. Because it is your turn to want to take money from people on the road, so be it. And so these people understand economy all in terms of theft. Yes, the economy is crumbling, but individuals are surviving out of the graft, out of the armed robbery that they have perpetrated on the state as an organization. Individuals are stealing, groups are stealing, official bodies are stealing. Before I came on this, I watched somewhere an explanation of a mayor about their development. He said, for example, you can go to Yaoundé, they will give you, say, 10 million to do something, do water project in your community. It's a loan from Felcom. But you don't expect ever to get that money. This is official. What you will get at the end of the day is 5 million. 5 has been stolen. But you'll be bound as a council to pay the loan, the debt of 10 million. This is official. He analyzes it. 20% will go here, 10% will go here, until at the end of the day you only have 50% if you are lucky. And so this is a regime, this is a country. That's national policy there. Nobody is rising against it. As long as at the end of the day you get your 5 out of 10, and you steal 3 out of the 5, and the whole committee will left with 1 or 2. So this is unfortunate. We should not have been here, but we are here. And the president has given us the way forward. We must fight, we are fighting. We must live, we are living. And so again, this message sent by the president, very well coded, politically meaningful, strategically important. And so I thank him. I thank the ladies for their input. I thank you, Paddy, for your sacrifices for doing so much up to this point. And most particularly Dr. Mungwa, who I know is so busy. And so it's not easy to have a panel of 4 in a discussion like this. 2 able women joining 2 old men to challenge them with ideas and otherwise. Over to you.
Yeah, we're going to listen to some more excerpts again and get further with this analysis. And I'm like to tell those who are watching, after this post analysis, I know in the next 30 minutes, am I sure, Dr. Mungwa, you have an appointment in the next 30 minutes? Am I correct?
That's correct, yes.
Good. So when we're done with this analysis, we will be streaming the Portuguese and Spanish version of the speech. And then for those who will be connected on ABC Amba TV, at the home front, you'll be watching a rebroadcast of this program all day till tomorrow. We're just gonna have that on screen. I would like to announce with you that tomorrow we have the news 3 times in the day. We're gonna have an early morning news. I'm sure that is going to be with Onye Okpala or Star Smart. By midday, you will have either Onye Okpala and Star Smart, and in the evening again, you will have me. So everything that's going to be happening in the world, we're going to have live broadcast tomorrow in the morning, in the afternoon, and in the evening. That is our Independence Day, and the panelists that are available will bring them on board for this analysis of whatever is happening. There is going to be another analysis of this speech again tomorrow morning. Barrister Fru will be a part of that. I don't. I will tell you before tomorrow who else is going to be about that, and then the program that's coming up in Houston, Texas. Details of it and how you can participate, we will provide them to you tomorrow. So let's listen to the president. We'll be right back.
Shall be destroyed. Many are very loud, very negative, always castigating and blackmailing those who are actually fighting for you. They talk with great passion, but they don't mean well, and they are liars and manipulators. Even if you were an angel, if they disagree with you, they will frame you up as a monster, as an agent of La République du Cameroon. They want your enemies to be your enemies, their enemies to be your enemies also. Else, you become their enemy too. Be careful not to get entangled in cliques to fight not for what is good for Amazonia, but for what is convenient for the clique. There is a war we all decided to fight and win. It is not the war against fellow patriots. We should not be defined by our mistakes. We should be defined by what we stood for, because all men make mistakes. The meal of our diplomacy is grinding slowly but surely. We appreciate our institutional partners and friends who have added their voices to our cause this year. From the continent of Africa to Europe, from the continental USA to South America, we have done a lot to represent our cause to willing ears in high places, draw the sympathies of many who only yesterday cared less if we even existed. We are no longer washed through the windows or the keyholes. We are in the corridors of decision. It is only a matter of time for the consciences that matter to start addressing the double standard, to boldly see that what is good for Ukraine is good for Amazonia, and what is wrong for Ukraine is wrong for Amazonia. My dear country people,
the president has always been consistent with this approach of diplomacy, and that's an aspect. Before we get into the intensity of that, he says something stylistically telling the world, hey, you would have to compare us with others that you're talking on. And that is just a matter of time, and reassures Amazonians that something is happening. Dr. Mungwa, please.
Thank you, Paddy. The silver lining on the dark cloud of this revolution was indeed the war in Ukraine. And the war in Ukraine brought to the public something that others can compare our revolution against. It is very important because the strategic error that La République made was indicting our fellow comrades and making sure that they were taken into the heart of America, for those who understand what I mean by that. Thinking that they would take them to a place where nobody will ever listen to us or look at terrorism from a different perspective other than what it is defined in the books. And suddenly came the Ukrainian war, and we saw that it was a replica of what is happening between La République du Cameroon and Ambazonia. And everything was laid bare. And now even La République has no place to hide. Just an extension of that effort, what President Sako decided to do. The legal team he met to join this cause, and how we're able to tell our story through the African Report, which is a major international journal on Africa, which is widely read in the West or in America, as well as in the Star and Stripes, which is a major newspaper read by senators and congressmen. And it's thanks to this publication, as a result of what La République did to a fellow countrymen, based on false charges, we have now gotten into a stage which I don't think I have the right to talk about it, because over the past 2 years, the president has taken another leap in the legal realm.
Yeah.
So I want ambassadors to know this. We are on the offensive. Okay? We are on the offensive. So I just wanted to give you the itinerary of how all this
Yeah.
developed for us to be where we are today.
I just like the way you say it. You're saying, like the president, just to echo what the president said, you're saying we are on the offensive. The president says we have won. Barrister Mbeseha, please react to that.
Well, let me take the line the president used. He said, other people castigating and blackmailing others. And then he said, the means of democracy grind slowly, but they surely grind. Let me take off from there. Because on these annual events, it is important for the president to give out this message. There are things that people should know that they might not have known. They probably did not know that those things were being done, and they blame people without knowing it. I will just give examples. See, you talk about this arrest in Norway. This human rights violations is related to whatever thing, to the war being fought in Amazonia. Many people did not know that this government who filed chair complaints to the ICC. It is there. I have a receipt, an acknowledgement of receipt of the complaint. The complaint is right there. So saying we should go to the ICC is not new. We'll filed one there. It is a question of follow-up and a question of day acting. So it is important for the public to know this, what we've done, and we're still expecting results. Going back to Norway, the president said it. We did file a number of applications, complaints, to different countries around the world, including Norway, countries that assume universal jurisdiction over human rights and war crimes. We filed many of them, about 7, 8, including Norway. It was 3 years ago, almost 3 years ago. We don't know whether what happened in Norway is in response to our complaint, but it's just one of them. Some of the complaints moved a bit forward and then they stopped. And because they stopped, I can tell you exactly, report to you what happened. Among the countries to which we filed these complaints was Belgium. We filed a complaint for Belgium to assume universal jurisdiction and listed the people who believed were causing us harm, were doing us havoc. We filed one there. And of all the complaints we filed, Belgium was the first country to react. They took immediate action and started investigations. I have their receipts here. I have their letters from them here. But they stopped. They stopped. Why did they stop? One of us stopped the action. Somebody who believed it was for us, and we use his name because he lives in Belgium. He stopped the action, knowingly or unknowingly. I have their letters here with me. And because it's already over, and I'll be editors, I'll not be ashamed to say it. Sama Thomas spoiled it. I'm not calling his name because I hate him. No. So those are the steps we have taken, some of which have succeeded, some of which are succeeding. And so it is a time for all our listeners, our followers, to know so far where we have gone, where we are going. And so if that is the struggle, the president has said it all in his speech, but it's good for us to know some of these details. And then, of course, for people who do not understand, at least you have heard about the Switzerland initiative. That was the initiative of President Sako. He died. Who killed it? Some of us. Mbakuru. I'm not hating him. That's the fact. And so if people are calling, oh, let us unite. And if you took the position of President Sako, will you invite, for example, Mr. Mbakuru to sit on the high table with you, to go look for another negotiation table? Will you invite, for example, Mr. Sama Thomas to join you, go file another petition in Belgium where he lives or some other country? They are going different directions, knowingly or unknowingly. And so the president has said this in coded language, but I think these simple explanations from actors, participants like me, it's important for us to stand where we are coming, to understand where we are coming from and where we are going to. And so the president does not have all the time to speak for this and this. He puts out information which needs to be decoded and explained to the ordinary listener. And so if I mention someone's name here, it's not part of the partisan politics we play. It is because I have facts about it. It's not hating them. That's why my code word is knowingly or unknowingly, they destroy those things. And so moving forward, as the president says, we like to build a common front. But these people who have been castigating me left and right, or you are left and right, must then to come back and say, we're sorry, we tried to destroy the house. It was a mistake. And then we'll join and we'll fight the fight. But it's not enough to sing the choir. Oh, let us come together now that I've got you. Oh, let us come together. Who is responsible for the breaking down of the government? He created a rival government. He has not yet dissolved that rival government. And then you see a letter coming from the Congo prison, calling for people to come together. What does this coming together mean? Bringing the IGK together that was created to destroy the government? Or what? And so we're not defending our position, we're explaining our positions. If our listeners have contrary views on how to do it better than what we've done, they are free to suggest. Over to you.
Can I
Thank you very
just
much.
dovetail on
Yeah,
that?
please.
Yes, I mean, that's a great presentation there by Barrister Mbeseha. What he said about Sama Thomas in Belgium, it's a classic La République playbook that they will use you to destroy your own people. And always look for the dumbest people because it's easy to manipulate them. Okay? The same happened with Chris Anu. They promised him heaven and earth that he was going to be the leader of Ambazonians, and they said, all you have to do is to get rid of Dr. Sako. And this is the same person who declared that Dr. Sako has been impeached and then came through the back door begging Dr. Sako that, oh, why don't you resign and then we create a unity government and all that sort of thing. The same thing back in La République. Who shut down the internet? Peter Musonge and Tabe Tando. These are the people who shut the internet. Who killed Cameroon Calling? Francis Hwine. And the list goes on and on and on and on. Very corrupt individuals. If you look at them, what is common among them is corruption. These are people who are just so corrupt. And you see that are people of very, very low minds, not bright people, because they can easily corrupt them. It means that Peter Musonge and Tabe Tando were very happy to say, let's shut down the internet in Ambazonia so that they can kill our people. Then in the morning they say, oh, the graphic people, they're the ones destroying us. Again, that division. We should never let this happen in our country. Never, ever. Never again. Because nobody is safe. Because today they will talk about those from graphic land, tomorrow they'll talk about those from the coast. And they'll keep turning like that until you come to zero. In mathematics, we call that convergence. You converge to nothing. Zero. We have to stand up and defend each other. So this tactic that they keep on using, people among us, like the Mba Akuros, like the Chris Anus, like the Sama Thomas, to destroy our cause. It is only thanks to the fact that our people know exactly what we're looking for. Have we been able to stand up to those challenges over the years? And thank you for that explanation, Barrister Mbeseha. Over to you.
That is amazing, Dr. Mungwa. Sometimes you are a straight shooter. The way you just say it as it is. And I like what you have said, because the president said it in court the other day, but you have just burst it out. It's important. Let's listen to the last segment of this address that is focusing partly on what the both of you are saying, and so that I can liberate you to move to go now, Dr. Mungwa, and then we will be having the Portuguese and the Spanish translation play on.
Who are going to the north and those who are going to the south. How do you unite or collaborate with those who are organized criminals and those who are actual liberation forces? If reconciliation was that possible or good, why did they refuse to stay with us in the house in the first place? Why did they leave the house and try to pull down the walls? Some said they left because they could no longer tolerate our mess. What has changed now? We are still full of the mess they will not tolerate yesterday. So what do they really want now under this cloak of unity? It smells like a calculated move to take another shot, a deadly one, from inside. Why should we believe the authors of disunity when they come again without apologies as the apostles of unity and collaboration? It is true that those who hurt others forget their actions before those who are hurt. In diplomacy, as we continue to navigate the complexities of our struggle for independence, we acknowledge the slow but steady progress of our diplomatic efforts. We appreciate the support and recognition we have made inroads in the UK, USA, Brazil, in terms of institutional partnership and recognitions. We made significant strides in representing our cause to willing ears in critical spheres. They no longer see us through the windows. We have entered the corridors of decision-making. Our message of self-determination and freedom has resonated with many, and we are confident that the tides of public opinion are shifting in our favor. As the situation in Ukraine has shown, what is good for one nation is also good for another, and what is wrong in one nation or one place should be wrong for all. We are not alone in our struggle, and we will continue to draw parallels between our cause and the struggles of other nations. My dear resilient prisoners, refugees, and IDPs, I salute you all for the courage many of you are exhibiting in extreme hardship. Your resilience brings us hope and confidence. We will continue to advocate for you in a conflict-prone, racially divided world for helpers to come our way. We will continue to shed the light on the injustices and extreme human rights abuses you suffer daily in the hands of the rogue government of French Cameroon. We will continue to solicit the material and spiritual help you need to enable you hold it together until freedom comes. Though all of us in the diaspora are considered as refugees and prisoners in varying degrees. We know that some are in more dire conditions and situations and require our support. In this regard, I call on all our patriotic comrades to support the goodwill initiatives of the Department of Health and Social Services and our Department of Women's Services that are doing their best to extend a helping hand to our hundreds of thousands of affected ones. We call on the humanitarian community at large to consider the plight of our suffering people. We know that one crisis in the world eclipses another, but our people deserve at least your advocacy. My people, let us all continue with this journey of hope, knowing the truth is on our side and even God will not forsake the just. It is no longer a matter of if, but when. And the tree of freedom we have watered with our blood shall blossom. Go ahead to celebrate this day around the table with your children and tell them the reason for this day. Tell them why we fight and why they are not Cameroonians. Recount to them the names of our true national heroes and pray for them that if we don't enter the promised land today, they must be ready to rise to the occasion and complete our journey. I wish you a happy Independence Day 2024. Viva our Ambazonia State Armed Forces. Viva the Southern Cameroon's Ambazonia. Thank you.
Now, after the president would have handled diplomacy, unity, he concludes the speech best way ever possible by addressing the plight of the oppressed of Amazonia, the refugees and the IDPs in a very tremendous way. I begin with you, Dr. Mungwa.
When the president speaks, imagine yourself as a refugee or somebody on foreign soil hoping to go back to your country. Do you know the impact of your president talking to you? Do you know that for over 60 years, Ambazonians never had leader? We had people who betrayed us, who divided us, who was a puppet of the enemy. For the first time in our history, at least for the past 4 to 5 years, we have finally had an authentic leader of the Ambazonian people. That alone is a source of hope to our refugees. That alone is a source of internal peace. Because some of these refugees will not make it to Ambazonia. But I can assure you, wherever they rest, they will be in peace. Because they know there is hope. And that's the meaning of that last segment of the president's speech, addressing it specifically to our refugees. Because these are the people who, without any fault of their own, have been driven to lands they never dreamt of going, not as refugees. So it's a powerful statement. And I feel so happy that this speech was so wholesome because every part of Ambazonia was touched. And I'm so happy that the president has been consistent in what he says at the end of each year, at least during every Independence Day. So that's what I have to say about the president's speech. It was powerful, it was effective.
Yes. Thank you very much. Barrister Mbeseha, please. Your closing statement as well.
Yes, I think the president said a number of things there which are absolutely very important. He said that we are winning We are no longer sitting on the fences in diplomacy. We are becoming part of the decision making. And he said, Ukraine has vindicated us. What has happened in Ukraine, all of us know. And then he talked about the refugees. And from the refugees, I will say that he has sent the right message. All of us have seen what has happened in Gaza, what has happened in Palestine. If you have been watching the news, you saw what happened to Mr. Netanyahu 2 days ago when he went to address the United Nations General Assembly. When he entered, almost everybody walked out. They were not walking out because they hated so much or because they love Palestine so much. They were walking out in protest at what he has done to the refugees. People in Gaza are called refugees. They bomb and kill them. The majority of the world has never gone to Palestine. They don't know where it is found. But they saw these images and said, no, enough is enough. It didn't start yesterday. It didn't start this year. Israel has been doing like that a little bit since 1948. But there came a time after 66 years that the way said, no, enough is enough. And they turned around and recognized Palestine, gave them a seat at the United Nations. Back to our own case, you remember? The people have been doing this to us since 1961, just 3 years after Israel, and thought that they had finally consummated the marriage by force. Until it came 2016. And then what they did to us, people fled to Nigeria, they fled everywhere. They saw the burned houses. And the world is coming to grips. Enough is enough. And so we are no longer strangers in this scene. We only need to do resistance. The world is acknowledging it. They have been doing all this to us. Yes, for example, they have talked about Choyaba. Rightly or wrongly, he did something wrong. But the reason is, why did he even take the opportunity to do what he was doing wrong? Somebody gave him the platform. And the world is standing up gradually to say, no, enough is enough. And so I think we're on the right track. I would guess, and I pray that by next year, October, it will be a different story. If the world is watching, they must be asking, why must the celebration of 1st October be a crime? A date put in the United Nations records. Why is it a crime? Well, we're being killed. Why are they harassing everybody? Again, reasonable people, reasonable governments, reasonable organizations will say enough is enough. Why do we do it like this? You kill somebody, an innocent man. You refuse the children from burying the corpse of a dead man. Just because you can take pride in burning it. You can take pride in even abusing the dead. You can catch some soya and do it privately, but do it with the video picture. Civilized people will say enough is enough. And so, thank you, Mr. President. Thank Ambazonians who support this struggle. Thank those who are praying for it. Those who are far away, keep praying. We will succeed. Over to you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Mungwa. I don't know if you have any final words. If not, just give them briefly.
Well,
so
as
we can move
usual,
on.
I would always like to extend my appreciation and gratitude to ABC crew. You've done a fantastic job over this time, and you've been the window in the world to showcase what is happening in Amazonia. Without ABC, there will be absolutely no education, and of course, the message will be distorted and will never reflect our position. We are the best to tell our story, and I really take this occasion to thank you in particular because I know what you have come against as the director and all the challenges that you face on a daily basis. I'm fully aware of them, and you have maintained your stride, and you have maintained your dignity, and you have maintained your posture, and you are doing a remarkable job. So is your crew and the entire management of ABC. So let me take this occasion to thank ABC as a whole for the remarkable job you've done to show the world what is happening in our country. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you, gentlemen, for coming. This is the end of this post speech analysis. Just to remind you, as you can see on your screen, we will be having the Portuguese followed by the Spanish translation of the president's speech. It is the government's strategic plan to make sure that our speech or our policy as a people of a government is being disseminated in every corner of the world. By December, we will have more translations added, and we would like to have more volunteers or more people who are willing to work with us as ambassadors in different countries. We'll be having it also in Arabic. We want to make sure the most popular languages in the world are carrying these stories. Remember, this is the untold story of the world. We want to create friends in the Middle East. We want to create friends in China. Why not? China, it happens to have a language. Chinese is one of the most spoken languages in the world by many more people, while English is the most diversified. So if we would have it even in Chinese, we may just get one more person in this chariot that will be willing to help us move forward. And just to remind you again, an exceptional musical concert, Shout It Abroad, will be coming out in Houston, Texas on the 11th of November. And we hope that people can still travel from Europe to participate, because we're taking, if not the world's best, one of the world's best in gospel music, to make sure that this event is graced with great glory and beauty. So we will be sending out the links for those in the United States of America and different parts of the world to start purchasing your event tickets. The space is not much. There are those in America that have asked why we decided to use such a small auditorium. So you must get your tickets and get them immediately. By Wednesday, I'm sure the link for the ticket sales will be out. Details of the event, the venue, the official publicity will be out by tomorrow. So I will leave you with this music again, and see you tomorrow.
Chosen generation, we've been called for to show His excellence. Hey, all I require for life, God has given me, and I know who I am. We are a chosen generation, we've been called for to show His excellence. All I require for life, God has given me, for I know who I am. I know who God says I am, what He says I am, where He says I'm at. I know who I am. I know who God says I am, what He says I am, where He says I'm at. I know who I am. I'm working in power, I work in miracles, I live a life of favor. I know who I am. I'm working in power, I'm working miracles, I live a life of favor, for I know who I am. Hey. 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 We are a chosen generation, We've been called for to show His excellence. Yeah, all I require for life, God has given me, and I know who I am. We are a chosen generation. We've been called for to show His excellence. All I require for life, God has given me. I know who God says I am, what He says I am, where He says I'm at. I know who I am. I know who God says I am, what He says I am, where He says I'm at. I know who I am. I'm walking in power, I walk in miracles, I live a life, for I know who I am. Say, I'm walking in power, I walk in miracles, I live a life of favor, for I know who I am. Everybody shout lift your voice, shout I know who I am. Wave your hands, shout I know who I am. What are you?
Caros cidadãos dos Camarões do Sul, Amazônia. Queridos cidadãos do povo dos Camarões do Sul, Amazônia. Ao refletir sobre o 7º aniversário da nossa Declaração de Renovação de Independência, quero começar por reconhecer a sua coragem e resiliência. É encorajador ver que, apesar das muitas provações e tribulações que enfrentamos, a nossa determinação permanece intacta e a nossa busca pela autodeterminação inabalável, sabendo que o nosso sofrimento hoje não pode ser comparado com a glória da liberdade que temos diante de nós. A resposta do regime à nossa busca pacífica por justiça e igualdade tem sido uma série de massacres unilaterais do nosso povo inocente, especialmente dos jovens. Mostraram desprezo pelas nossas aspirações, rejeitaram as nossas queixas legítimas e recorreram a rotular a nossa luta como terrorismo. Esta narrativa está muito longe da dura realidade local, onde somos nós que estamos sujeitos à violência, incêndios criminosos, desaparecimentos forçados, estupros, encarceramento e assassinatos. A sua estratégia de tentar rotular a nossa luta como secessão ou terrorismo foi uma tentativa desesperada de obscurecer os seus crimes contra a humanidade cometidos no nosso país. O regime gastou milhões na compra de meios de comunicação social e em esforços de lobby para encobrir a sua terrível imagem e os crimes cometidos contra inocentes ambazonenses. A sua recusa no engajamento de um diálogo genuíno é uma prova do seu desrespeito pela nossa cultura democrática e do seu compromisso apenas com a força bruta. As suas tentativas de subjugar através da violência e do engano apenas reforçam a nossa determinação. Procuraram semear a discórdia entre nós, desacreditar a nossa liderança e criar confusão para justificar a sua recusa em negociar. Contudo, a história mostra que sempre nos apresentamos como uma delegação unificada, comprometida com um acordo justo e igualitário. A República dos Camarões não nos conquistou numa guerra. A verdade é que também não nos impusemos a eles. Eles prometeram respeitar a nossa escolha de soberania, de ficar ou optar por sair. Arrido disse isto em 1961, em seu famoso discurso na ONU, e eu repito: os dois territórios serão unidos, mas manterão as suas respectivas instituições. Os Camarões do Sul manterão a sua própria administração, o seu próprio parlamento e as suas próprias leis. Ele literalmente fez um voto perante os líderes mundiais quando acrescentou: prometemos e reafirmamos solenemente que as instituições dos Camarões do Sul serão respeitadas. Não anexaremos os Camarões do Sul. O Sr. Biya disse-nos recentemente que eles procuraram anexar-nos, apagar a nossa identidade e transformar a união de iguais numa conquista. Hoje, queremos recordar os sacrifícios feitos pelos nossos heróis e heroínas caídos, que deram as suas vidas para deter este grande mal, deter a fraude e recuperar a nossa liberdade. Honramos a sua memória e continuamos a nossa luta pela restauração de nossa dignidade, humanidade e soberania através da justiça e da igualdade. Meus queridos, exorto-vos a permanecerem firmes na sua determinação. Não somos covardes. Continuemos a resistir à tentativa do regime de nos eliminar do mapa. Devemos resistir a todas as tentativas do regime ou das suas forças por procuração para aumentar a dor que sofremos. Continuemos a responsabilizar esses bandidos colonialistas pelos seus crimes contra a humanidade. Se a fraude, o genocídio e a anexação são crimes contra a humanidade, então o Estado da República dos Camarões é um Estado criminoso. À medida que avançamos, lutemos com um renovado sentido de propósito e determinação. Queremos construir uma nação fundada nos princípios de equidade, justiça, igualdade e liberdade. Querido povo dos Camarões do Sul, vamos honrar os túmulos dos nossos heróis caídos, dos nossos cidadãos inocentes massacrados pelos Camarões franceses. Honremos aqueles que continuam firmes adiante desta grande adversidade. Lembremos-nos dos desejos dos nossos pais fundadores, que só conseguem sorrir devido à nossa coragem em corrigir este erro. Devemos continuar a afirmar o nosso direito de viver livres, como qualquer outro território na África que é livre e que anteriormente esteve sob tutela da ONU. Merecemos a nossa própria sociedade, onde o nosso povo possa viver em paz e com dignidade, tal como foi previsto pelos nossos pais fundadores. Queridos compatriotas da resistência, recebemos relatório de que um certo sul-camaronês foi detido na Noruega pelo governo da Noruega, por suspeita de cometer crimes contra a humanidade. Esperamos que a detenção não tenha sido motivada por questões políticas e que os suspeitos sejam julgados ao abrigo da lei norueguesa, não da lei dos camarões. Na medida em que não toleramos os atos grosseiros de crimes atrozes alegadamente cometidos pela ADF, esperamos que o sistema judicial de jurisdição universal como a Noruega respeite o Estado de Direito, respeite o direito de todos os cidadãos a um julgamento rápido e justo e considere todos os suspeitos inocentes até que se prove o contrário. Então, deixe que a lei tome o seu curso. Sabemos que o inocente são inocentados e o criminoso só cai onde a lei é corretamente interpretada, sem medo ou favorecimento. A Noruega não é uma república de bananas. Portanto, deixe-me aproveitar essa oportunidade para lembrar também ao ministro da Justiça da Noruega que nós, o governo do povo dos Camarões do Sul, temos uma queixa criminal pendente apresentada em 2019 nos seus tribunais contra 98 suspeitos de genocídio e crimes de guerra nos Camarões, que também viajam de e para a Noruega. Você também fará maior justiça à humanidade ao levar a nossa denúncia para a investigação. Senhoras e senhores, vencemos a guerra que nos foi declarada. Para compreender a nossa vitória, é preciso compreender a batalha que pretendemos vencer desde o início. A nossa vitória não consiste em matar todas as forças inimigas. Como um povo alvo de aniquilação, por um ocupante implacável, o nosso objetivo número 1 era a sobrevivência. E sim, sobrevivemos ao 7º ano, ainda resistindo. Não somos mais os cães ou ratos que decidiram eliminar em 2 semanas. Depois de 7 anos sangrentos, de uma guerra brutal, o inimigo não conseguiu esmagar a nossa guerrilha desorganizada. Pelo contrário, desenraigamos 80% de sua presença administrativa no território que Deus nos deu. A chamada canção única e indivisível tornou-se gradualmente um manto aposentado. Hoje, um conjunto de regras se aplica na Amazônia e outro conjunto de regras que se aplica aos Camarões franceses. Estamos a tomar conta do nosso destino. Chocamos o mundo e especialmente a França e aqueles que ajudam e encorajam esse projeto de extermínio. Conseguimos desmoronar a economia de guerra dos Camarões. Estamos sangrando a vida dos Camarões franceses. Ou os Camarões continuam a agarrar-se ao seu colapso titânico, ou todo este espaço geográfico será mergulhado num abismo de insegurança e miséria econômica. Anteriormente, a Grã-Bretanha argumentou que os Camarões do Sul não poderiam sobreviver economicamente sem se juntar aos Camarões franceses. Hoje a situação mudou. O que eu ouço agora é: os Camarões não podem sobreviver sem a Amazônia. A estratégia de desviar o olhar foi adotada pelos franceses e vendida à comunidade internacional para ajudar os Camarões franceses a esmagar-nos. Mas gradualmente está se tornando mais claro hoje que essa estratégia, se sustentada, afundará completamente a República dos Camarões, sem possibilidade de redenção. Não desista, meu povo. Somos a geração pela qual Fonte orou em sua morte. Não sejam desencorajados por alguns corruptos contratados para desencorajar vocês. Não sejam desencorajados por alguns que desistiram ou perderam o foco. Não escute alguns que podem parecer sinceros com vocês, mas eles mesmos foram enganados por não poder separar a verdade da mentira. Nessa altura, em nossa luta, escolha seus amigos com cuidado. Não permita que eles escolham você. O ajuntamento dos tolos será destruído. Muitos são barulhentos, são muitos negativos. sempre castigando e chantageando aqueles que na verdade lutam pela Amazônia. Eles falam com grande paixão, mas as suas intenções são más, são mentirosos e manipuladores. Mesmo que você seja um anjo, se eles discordarem de vocês, eles irão te rotular como um monstro, um agente da República dos Camarões. Eles querem que seus inimigos também sejam seus inimigos. Caso contrário, você também se tornará inimigo deles. Tenha cuidado para não se envolver em cliques, para lutar não pelo que é bom para a Amazônia, mas pelo que é conveniente para o seu clique. Há uma guerra que todos decidimos travar e vencer. Não é a guerra contra outros patriotas. Não deveríamos ser definidos pelos nossos erros. Deveríamos ser definidos por aquilo que defendemos, porque todos cometem erros. O moinho da nossa diplomacia está trabalhando lenta, mas seguramente. Agradecemos aos nossos parceiros institucionais e amigos que somaram suas vozes à nossa causa este ano. Do continente africano à Europa, dos Estados Unidos continentais à América do Sul, fizemos muito para representar a nossa causa aos ouvidos atentos nos altos escalões, atraindo a simpatia de muitos que ainda ontem se importavam menos com a nossa existência. Não somos mais observados pela janela. Estamos nos corredores da decisão. É apenas uma questão de tempo para que as consciências que importam abordem o duplo padrão. Para verem com ousadia que o que é bom para a Ucrânia é bom para a Amazônia, e o que é errado para a Ucrânia é errado para a Amazônia. Meus queridos contemporâneos, agora estamos mais perto do fim desta jornada do que quando começamos. Esta guerra foi vencida espiritualmente e mentalmente. Embora o nosso adversário saiba disso, a luta final será disputada mais cedo ou mais tarde. Certamente acontecerá, mais cedo ou mais tarde, seja pela redenção do ocupante, por um golpe de Estado da República dos Camarões, por uma situação de guerra civil entre facções políticas dentro da República dos Camarões, por uma certa intervenção estrangeira orquestrada pelas mudanças geopolíticas da região, ou ainda um acordo negociado abrangente entre Camarões do Sul e os Camarões. Há 3 catalisadores em ações: a morte, o desaparecimento de Paul Biya, a nossa determinação em manter as chamas acesas, convulsões políticas, financeiras ou militares em Yaoundé e o comportamento de intervenientes internacionais. Entre os 4, o número 1 deve ser a nossa determinação em continuar a lutar. Prezado Exército da Amazônia, cada família tem um escolhido e cada aldeia tem alguns escolhidos. Além disso, cada nação escolheu pessoas de diferentes domínios e cada continente tem um povo escolhido. Até o mundo tem as suas nações escolhidas. Alguns de vocês que me ouvem, vivos ou mortos, estão entre os escolhidos que temos em Amazônia. Os escolhidos são os ungidos para a salvação de todos. Não são perfeitos. A vida dos escolhidos é um sacrifício pelo bem de todos. Amazônia, uma nação que mata os seus escolhidos, vagará no deserto durante 40 anos, como fizeram os israelitas quando rejeitaram Moisés. Não apoiarei ninguém que mate algum de vocês, seu colega, um escolhido, por poder, inveja ou dinheiro. Não se deixe distrair pelos apelos vazios à unidade por parte de alguns que não querem dizer que pregam e não pregam o que querem dizer. As palavras união ou colaboração significam várias coisas para diferentes pessoas. A nossa revolução não é a primeira desse tipo. Não há nenhum registro na história que sustente o fato de que todas as forças no movimento de libertação devem se tornar uma antes que a vitória aconteça. Você não pode unir duas pessoas com dois pontos de vista, a não ser pelo compromisso. Tal compromisso significa que alguém deveria abandonar a sua posição. Como poderíamos unir ou gerar colaboração entre aqueles que pararam de lutar e aqueles que ainda estão lutando? Como podemos unir ou gerar colaboração entre aqueles que aceitaram o suborno com aqueles que não o fizeram? Como nós unimos ou colaboramos com aqueles que estão matando crianças e aqueles que estão capacitando crianças? Como vocês unem ou geram colaboração entre aqueles que vão para o norte e aqueles que vão para o sul? Como nos unimos ou colaboramos com o crime organizado e as forças de libertação? Se a reconciliação seria possível, por que eles primeiramente se recusam a ficar conosco? Por que eles decidiram sair da casa e derrubar os muros? Alguns disseram que foram embora porque não podiam mais tolerar nossa bagunça. O que mudou? Ainda estamos cheios de bagunça que eles não tolerariam ontem. Então, o que eles realmente querem, agora sob este manto de unidade? Parece que um movimento calculado para dar outro tiro. Por que deveríamos acreditar nos autores da desunião quando eles voltam para nós sem desculpas como apóstolos de uma unidade de colaboração? É verdade que quem fere os outros esquece as suas ações diante de quem é ferido. Com relação à diplomacia, à medida que continuamos a navegar pelas complexidades da nossa luta pela independência, reconhecemos o progresso lento, mas constante dos nossos esforços diplomáticos. Agradecemos o apoio e o reconhecimento que temos nos Estados Unidos, no Reino Unido, no Brasil, em termos de parcerias institucionais e reconhecimento. Fizemos progressos significativos na apresentação da nossa causa aos ouvidos atentos em esferas críticas. Já não nos veem pela janela. Entramos nos corredores da tomada de decisão. A nossa mensagem de autodeterminação e liberdade ressoou a muitos e estamos confiantes de que a maré da opinião pública está mudando a nosso favor. Tal como a situação na Ucrânia demonstrou, o que é bom para uma nação pode ser bom para outra. E o que é errado em um lugar pode ser errado em todos os lugares. Não estamos sozinhos na nossa luta e continuaremos a traçar paralelos entre a nossa causa e as lutas de outras nações. Caros prisioneiros, refugiados e pessoas deslocadas domesticamente, eu saúdo todos vocês pela coragem que muitos de vocês têm demonstrado em dificuldades extremas. A sua resiliência nos traz esperança e confiança. Continuaremos clamando a seu favor. Num mundo propenso a conflitos e racialmente dividido, para que ajudadores venham ao nosso encontro. Continuaremos a lançar luz sobre as injustiças e os abusos extremos dos direitos humanos que vocês sofreram diariamente nas mãos do governo desonesto dos camarões franceses. Continuaremos a solicitar ajuda material e espiritual que vocês necessitam para que se mantenham unidos até que a liberdade chegue. Embora todos nós na diáspora sejam considerados refugiados e prisioneiros em vários graus, sabemos que alguns estão em situações mais terríveis e necessitam do nosso apoio. A este respeito, apelo a todos os nossos camaradas patrióticos para que apoiem as iniciativas de boa vontade dos nossos departamentos de saúde e serviços sociais e o nosso departamento de serviços à mulher, que estão fazendo o seu melhor para estender a mão a centenas de milhares de pessoas afetadas. Apelamos à comunidade humanitária para que considere a situação do nosso povo sofredor. Sabemos que uma crise ofusca a outra. mas o nosso povo merece pelo menos a sua defesa. Meu povo, vamos todos continuar com esta jornada de esperança, sabendo que a verdade está do nosso lado. E mesmo Deus não nos abandonará. Já não é uma questão de se, mas de quando. E a árvore da liberdade que regamos com o nosso sangue florescerá. Vá em frente e celebre este dia à mesa com seus filhos e conte a eles o motivo deste dia. Diga-lhes por que lutamos e por que eles não são camaroneses. Conte os nomes dos nossos heróis nacionais e ore por eles, para que, se não entrarmos nessa terra prometida hoje, eles estejam prontos para enfrentar a ocasião e completar a nossa jornada. Eu desejo a vocês um feliz dia da independência de 2024. Viva as Forças Armadas do Estado da Amazônia, viva o Camarões do Sul, Amazônia.
Menamo Bamata Te kerasine te narangu Te ba kerasine te wangu Bagar wumna matuzi burka werin banyat Bagar chuba mina barabat Menamo Sasana menyu metana ngubra tongo Aya wuzene ngwene zeba jenga bongo Abinga gume chenka ba nya enjo Ka enje maye kumami wa tongo Azwa kung aya soze wa cho Ngwene zara gu atamba brangra ze Funga tuwa mandega wa cho Fako Yezangene jiga gawa Wamata Ninga gazo che tu menyivri nyere Zwete yen, chenona chosa kwa vukom kner Sakor mambia mkaze matem nur Roba wado, tieze afagara gwe kumbanga trosa Chita ba wu mka kumbaba wu Bama gwe nanjirambeng bayenda nye sote tuza Wanga bana bea o mami baba bure bama bena nye febe Mare nang forme kasarami kukwa ban febe Agunda sine burfu kerabo manibre gwa fo nang chwena jimne ay chichi awafa aduma ajeju zabazu izu upana tongne Azizi gunda burfu kuyato chichi ni yen bamazu gwa tumbe bo forugumbe gara nyombunga tuwaza to girite geng awa yende kona Basa pena bazima nasifa fini agana sira che winne ngwan fa bazui Gwega mochuit, agana sira chup zoba chichi banzi. Wang ni ye jang ye wuzu mbrisi. Azera mambu una mwana zaba sa chinge. Mbankono ni kana fima zaba chia. Tuwa na baza chwa. Manipsa suisu nga na wagirita ka. Ngwen fa bi ewa wasa baranjinige. Ayawa wenoka kaba siga wanjirige. Tuwa za panda akaye kombambeng. Amano awazurungar banbeng. Tu machiga awa karangom kabni ingom nitinga uniform chibiko. Chia toothbrush akaba sap song tanu asoba. I'm a sobo, Sophie, Jimmy Benjim, Nenga Jacka, Achera's a king. I'm a son, you're a meng, Mama Nang Ma Achu, Sayanda the copper, a summer sun with 2 minutes of Tinanga. I finding a ambot, quite a bat, I find him a finger board corner. And in even a 10 franc nas on a chalk. Can a woman I would have the Tumba Changut? Manamo Margaret Chubamina Borabot.
Queridos ciudadanos del sur de Camerún, Ambazonia. Querido pueblo del sur de Camerún, Ambazonia. Mientras reflexionamos sobre el 7º aniversario de nuestra Declaración de Independencia, quiero comenzar reconociendo su coraje y resiliencia. Es alentador ver que, a pesar de las muchas pruebas y tribulaciones que hemos enfrentado, nuestra determinación permanece intacta y nuestra resolución de libre determinación es inquebrantable, sabiendo que nuestro sufrimiento actual no puede compararse con la gloria de la libertad que tenemos ante nosotros. La respuesta del régimen a nuestra búsqueda pacífica de justicia y igualdad ha sido una serie de masacres unilaterales de nuestro pueblo inocente, especialmente los jóvenes. Mostraron desprecio por nuestras aspiraciones, desestimaron nuestros reclamos legítimos y recurrieron a etiquetar nuestra lucha como terrorismo. Esta narrativa está muy lejos de la dura realidad local, donde somos nosotros los que somos sometidos a violencia, incendios provocados, desapariciones forzadas, violaciones, encarcelamiento y asesinato. Su estrategia de tratar y de etiquetar nuestra lucha como secesión o terrorismo fue un intento desesperado de oscurecer los crímenes contra la humanidad cometidos en nuestra patria. El régimen gastó millones en la compra de medios de comunicación y en esfuerzos de lobby para contribuir su terrible imagen y los crímenes cometidos contra amazonenses inocentes. Su negativa a entablar un diálogo genuino es testimonio de su falta de respeto por nuestra cultura democrática y su compromiso con la fuerza bruta. Sus intentos de subyugarnos mediante la violencia y el engaño solo han fortalecido nuestra determinación. Intentaron sembrar discordia entre nosotros, desacreditar a nuestros dirigentes y crear confusión para justificar su negativa a negociar. Sin embargo, la historia muestra que siempre nos hemos presentado como una delegación unificada, comprometida con un acuerdo justo y equitativo. La República de Camerún no nos venció en una guerra. La verdad es que tampoco se le impusimos. Prometieron respetar nuestra elección soberana de que quedarnos o irnos. Ahidjo lo dijo en 1961 en su famoso discurso de la ONU, y yo repito: los dos territorios estarán unidos, pero mantendrán sus respectivas instituciones. El Camerún del Sur mantendrá su propia administración, su propio parlamento y sus propias leyes. Literalmente hizo una promesa ante los líderes mundiales cuando añadió: prometemos y reafirmamos solemnemente que las instituciones del sur de Camerún serán respetadas. No anexaremos el sur de Camerún. El señor Biya, en revés, nos dijo recientemente que buscaban anexionarnos, borrar nuestra identidad y convertir la unión de iguales en una conquista. Hoy queremos recordar los sacrificios hechos por nuestros héroes y heroínas caídos, que dieron sus vidas para detener este gran mal, detener el fraude y recuperar nuestra libertad. Honramos su memoria, continuando nuestra lucha para restaurar nuestra dignidad, humanidad y soberanía a través de la justicia y la igualdad. Le insto a que se mantengan firmes en su resolución. Nosotros no somos cobardes, sigamos resistiendo el intento del régimen de eliminarnos del mapa. Debemos resistir todos los intentos del régimen o sus fuerzas aliadas de aumentar el dolor que sufrimos. Sigamos responsabilizando a estos bandidos colonialistas por sus crímenes contra la humanidad. Si el fraude, el genocidio y la anexión son crímenes de lesa humanidad, entonces el Estado de la República del Camerún es un Estado criminal. A medida que avanzamos, luchemos con un sentido renovado de propósito y determinación. Queremos construir una nación fundada sobre los principios de equidad, justicia, igualdad y libertad. Querido pueblo del sur de Camerún, honremos las tumbas de nuestros héroes caídos, de nuestros ciudadanos inocentes masacrados por el Camerún francés. Honremos a quienes se mantienen firmes ante esta diversidad. Recordemos los deseos de nuestros padres fundadores, quienes hoy solo pueden sonreír por nuestra valentía al corregir este error. Debemos seguir afirmando nuestro derecho a vivir libres como cualquier otro territorio de África que hoy es libre y que anteriormente estaba bajo la supervisión de la ONU. Merecemos nuestra propia sociedad donde nuestro pueblo pueda vivir en paz y dignidad, como lo imaginaron nuestros padres fundadores. Queridos camaradas de la resistencia, hemos recibido informes de que cierto hombre del sur de Camerún ha sido detenido en Noruega por el gobierno noruegués, bajo sospecha de haber cometido crímenes contra la humanidad. Esperamos que el arresto no haya tenido motivaciones políticas y que los sospechosos sean juzgados según la ley de Noruega y no la camerunesa, en la medida en que no toleramos los graves actos de crímenes atroces presuntamente cometidos por la ADF. Esperamos que el sistema judicial de una jurisdicción universal como Noruega respete al Estado de Derecho, respete los derechos de todos los ciudadanos a una justicia rápida y justo juicio y considerar inocente a todos los sospechosos hasta que se demuestre el contrario. Así que dejamos que la ley siga su curso. Sabemos que el inocente es inocente y el criminal solo cae cuando la ley se interpreta correctamente sin miedo ni favoritismo. Noruega no es una república de bananas. Por lo tanto, permítame aprovechar esta oportunidad para recordarle también al ministro de Justicia de Noruega que nosotros, el gobierno y el pueblo del sur de Camerún, tenemos una denuncia penal pendiente presentada en 2019 en sus tribunales contra 98 sospechosos de genocidio y crímenes de guerra, que también viajan hacia y desde Noruega. También a mayor justicia a la humanidad a llevar nuestro informe a investigación. Damas y caballeros, ganamos la guerra que nos declararon. Para entender nuestra victoria es necesario entender la batalla que pretendemos ganar desde el principio. Nuestra victoria no consiste en matar todas las fuerzas enemigas. Como pueblo, objetivo de aniquilación por un ocupante despiadado, nuestro objetivo número 1 era la sobrevivencia. Y sí, sobrevivimos el 7º año aún resistiendo. Ya no somos los perros y ni las ratas que hicieron eliminar en las 2 semanas. Después de 7 años sangrientos en guerra brutal, el enemigo no pudo aplastar a una guerrilla desorganizada. Al contrario, hemos desarraigado el 80% de su presencia administrativa en el territorio que Dios nos dio. La llamada canción única e indivisible se convirtió gradualmente en un mantra retirado. Hoy en día, se aplica un conjunto de reglas en Amazonia y otro conjunto de reglas en Camerún francés. Nos estamos haciendo cargo de nuestro destino. Hemos conmocionado al mundo, especialmente Francia, y a quienes ayudan y alientan este proyecto de exterminio. Logramos colapsar la economía de guerra de Camerún. Estamos desangrando al Camerún francés. O Camerún continúa aferrándose a su colapso titánico, o todo este espacio geográfico se verá hundido en un abismo de inseguridad y miseria económica. Si antes Gran Bretaña argumentaba que el Camerún del Sur no podría sobrevivir económicamente sin unirse al Camerún francés, hoy la situación ha cambiado. Lo que escucho ahora es que Camerún no puede sobrevivir sin Amazonia. La estrategia de mirar hacia otro lado fue adaptada por los franceses y vendida a la comunidad internacional para ayudar al Camerún francés a aplastarnos. Pero hoy cada vez resulta más claro que esta estrategia, si se mantiene, hundirá por completo la República de Camerún sin posibilidad de redención. No se rindan, pueblo mío. Somos la generación por la que Focha oró al morir. Queridos amazonios, guerreros obstinados, te desanime por algunos corruptos contratados para desanimarte. No te desanimes por algunos que parecen ser sinceros, pero ellos mismos están desanimados por no poder separar la verdad de la mentira. En este punto de nuestra lucha, elige a tus amigos con cuidado. No dejes que ellos elijan a ti. La reunión de los necios será destruida. Muchos son ruidosos y negativos y siempre castigan y chantajean a quienes realmente luchan por la Amazonia. Hablan con mucha pasión, pero sus intenciones son malvadas, son mentirosos y manipuladores. Aunque seas un ángel, si no están de acuerdo contigo, te harán parecer monstruos. Un agente de la República de Camerún. Quieren que sus enemigos también sean sus enemigos. De lo contrario, tú también te convertirás en enemigo. Tengan cuidado de no involucrarse en camarillas para luchar no por lo que es bueno para Amazonia, sino por lo que es conveniente para su camarilla. Hay una guerra que todos decidimos pelear y ganar. No es una guerra contra otros patriotas. No deberíamos definirnos por nuestros errores, deberíamos definirnos por lo que representamos para la diplomacia. El molino de nuestra diplomacia está funcionando de forma lenta pero segura. Agradecemos a nuestros socios institucionales y amigos que han sumado sus voces a nuestra causa este año. Desde el continente africano hasta Europa, desde los Estados Unidos continentales hasta América del Sur, hemos hecho mucho para representar nuestra causa ante oídos dispuestos en las altas esferas, atrayendo las simpatías de muchos a quienes hasta ayer les importaba menos si existiéramos. Ya no nos miran a través de la ventana, estamos en los pasillos de la decisión. Es solo cuestión de tiempo que las consecuencias que importan aborden el doble rasero y vean con valentía que lo que es bueno para Ucrania es bueno para Amazonia y lo que el mal para Ucrania es mal para Amazonia. Mis queridos compatriotas, ahora estamos más cerca del final de este viaje que cuando empezamos. Esta guerra la hemos ganado espiritual y mentalmente. El enemigo también sabe de esto. La pelea final se librará tarde o temprano, sin duda sucederá tarde o temprano, ya sea por la rendición del ocupante, por un golpe de Estado en República de Camerún, por una situación de guerra civil entre facciones políticas dentro de la República de Camerún, por una cierta intervención extranjera orquestada por cambios geopolíticos o un acuerdo integral entre Camerún del Sur y Camerún. Hay tres catalizadores en juego: la muerte o desaparición de OVA, nuestra determinación de mantener las llamas encendidas, los disturbios políticos, financieros o militares en Yaoundé y el comportamiento de los actores internacionales. Entre estos cuatro, el número uno debe ser nuestra determinación de seguir luchando. Estimado ejército de Amazonia, cada familia tiene un elegido y cada pueblo tiene unos pocos elegidos. Además, cada nación eligió personas en diferentes ámbitos y cada continente tiene un pueblo elegido. Incluso el mundo tiene sus naciones elegidas. Algunos de ustedes que me escuchan, vivos o muertos, están entre los elegidos que tenemos en Amazonia. Los elegidos son los ungidos para la salvación de todos. No son perfectos. La vida de los elegidos es un sacrificio por el bien de todos. Amazonia, una nación que mata a sus elegidos, vagará por el desierto durante 40 años, como lo hicieron los israelitas cuando rechazaron a Moisés. No apoyaré a nadie que mate a uno de ustedes, a su colega, o a un elegido por poder, envidia o dinero. No se dejen distraer por los vacíos llamados a la unidad de algunos que nos quieren no quieren decir lo que predican y no predican lo que quieren decir. Las palabras unidad y colaboración significan cosas diferentes para diferentes personas. Nuestra revolución no es la primera de su tipo. No hay ningún registro en la historia que respalde el hecho de que todas las fuerzas en un movimiento de liberación deben unirse antes de que pueda ocurrir la victoria. No se puede unir a dos personas con puntos de vista opuestos excepto mediante un compromiso. Tal compromiso significaría que alguien tendría que abandonar su puesto. ¿Cómo se une o genera colaboración entre los que han dejado de luchar y los que siguen luchando? ¿Cómo se une o genera colaboración entre los que aceptaron soborno con los que no? ¿Cómo se une los que están matando los niños con quienes están empoderando a los niños? ¿Cómo se une colaboración entre quienes van al norte y quienes van al sur? ¿Cómo nos unimos o colaboramos con el crimen organizado y las fuerzas de liberación? Si la reconciliación era tan posible, ¿por qué al principio se negaron a quedarse con nosotros? ¿Por qué salieron de la casa e intentaron derribar las paredes? Algunos dijeron que se fueron porque ya no podían tolerar nuestro desastre. Todavía estamos llenos del lío que ayer no tolerarían. Entonces, ¿qué es lo que realmente quieren ahora bajo este manto de unidad? Parece un movimiento calculado para hacer otro tiro. ¿Por qué deberíamos creer a los autores de la desunión cuando regresan sin pedir disculpas como apóstoles de la unidad y la colaboración? Es cierto que quienes lastiman a otros olvidan sus acciones frente a quienes resultan heridos. Mientras continuamos navegando por las complejidades de nuestra lucha por la independencia, reconocemos el progreso lento pero constante de nuestros esfuerzos diplomáticos. Apreciamos el apoyo y reconocimiento que tenemos en Estados Unidos, Reino Unido y Brasil en términos de asociaciones institucionales y reconocimiento. Hemos logrado avances significativos en la representación de nuestra causa ante oídos atentos en esferas críticas. Ya no nos ven por la ventana, entramos los pasillos de la tomada de decisión. Nuestro mensaje de autodeterminación y libertad ha resonado en muchos y confiamos en que la marea de la opinión pública está cambiando a nuestro favor. Como lo demostró la situación en Ucrania, lo que es bueno para una nación puede serlo para otra, y lo que está mal en un lugar puede serlo en otro. No estamos solos en nuestra lucha y continuamos estableciendo paralelos entre nuestra causa y las luchas de otras naciones. Queridos prisioneros, refugiados y personas desplazadas internamente, os felicito a todos por la valentía que muchos de vosotros están demostrando en las dificultades extremas. Su resiliencia nos trae esperanza y confianza. Continuaremos pidiéndoles ayuda en un mundo propenso a los conflictos y racialmente dividido para que vengan a nosotros. Seguiremos arrojando luz sobre las injusticias y los abusos extremos contra los derechos humanos que usted sufre a diario a manos del gobierno canalla del Camerún francés. Seguiremos pidiendo ayuda material y espiritual para que podáis permanecer unidos hasta que llegue la libertad. Si bien todos los que estamos en la diáspora somos considerados refugiados y prisioneros en distintos grados, sabemos que algunos se encuentran en situaciones más extremas y necesitan nuestro apoyo. En este sentido, hago un llamamiento a todos nuestros camaradas patrióticos para que apoyen las iniciativas de buena voluntad de nuestro Departamento de Salud y Servicios Sociales y nuestro Departamento de Servicios para la Mujer, que están haciendo todo lo posible para llegar a los cientos de miles de personas afectadas. Hacemos un llamado a la comunidad humanitaria a considerar la difícil situación de nuestro sufrido pueblo. Sabemos que una crisis eclipsa a otra, pero nuestro pueblo merece al menos su defensa. Pueblo mío, continuemos todos este camino de esperanza sabiendo que la verdad está de nuestro lado. Y ni siquiera Dios abandonará a los justos. Ya no es una cuestión de sí, sino de cuándo. Florecerá el árbol de la libertad que regamos con nuestra sangre. Anímate a celebrar este día en la mesa con tus hijos y cuéntalos el motivo de este día. Dígales por qué luchamos y por qué no son camaroneses. Cuente los nombres de nuestros héroes nacionales y ore por ellos para que, si no entramos hoy en la tierra prometida, estén listos para estar a la altura de las circunstancias y completar nuestro viaje. Les deseo un feliz día de la Independencia 2024. Viva nuestras Fuerzas Armadas del Estado de Ambazonia. Larga vida a la Ambazonia del sur de Camerún.
The drama. Yes, girl, bring on the drama.